Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the channel for the long-awaited reaction video to Schaffrillas' Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Course Ranking. As you can tell, I have 2 hours and 45 minutes of course ranking to react to, so it's going to be a long video. For that reason, we're playing it on 1.5x speed. It just needs to be done, alright? So, buckle up, everybody. I hope you are all in it for the long haul, just like I am. Couple things before we start the video. As always, the original video as well as all of my other reaction videos and our own Mario Kart type videos that we've made on the channel will all be linked in the description. You can check out any of those there. Also, if you continue to watch this video, you enjoy it, please smash that like button. Would mean a lot. Subscribe to the channel. We're building a great community here. Without further ado, we got to jump into this, okay? Because it's just
the sponsor of today's
it's gonna take too long. All right.
Come to the big one, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the highest-selling game in the Mario.
Because here's the problem: like, this is 2 hours and 45 minutes of video I got to react to, but you guys all know I like to little ramble, do some rambling on these videos, so it's gonna be even longer than that. I mean, you guys can see how long this video is. So just
the highest selling game in the entire
it's gonna
Mario
be brutal,
franchise.
dude. It's gonna be so long.
Originally released on the Wii U, a console that 90% of the people who played this game have never owned. It was pretty solid in its original form, with great gameplay and mostly strong new tracks that made great use of the brand new anti-gravity gimmick. It was good, just with a pretty bad character roster, some fairly
well. Now hold on, Schaffrillas. Important note that this is the highest grossing Mario Kart game. I think that is pretty impressive because, like you said, not many people had the Wii U. And I mean, that you could argue that almost helped it though, because that to like almost everybody this ended up being a new game, instead of like a remake adapted on the new platform. But dude, when we take a look at a bad character selection, what are we talking about, Schaffrillas? This is more than like any other Mario Kart game before. We got the Koopalings in here now, dude. Look at this, Rosalina, dude, that's a fan favorite. Lakitu, still never understood this one. The dude's reffing the race while also being a playable racer. I don't understand that one, but that's why we got DLC characters. So
some fairly weak choices in terms of the retro courses and the most abysmal battle.
You're always gonna get trash retro courses, like we know.
For the next 9 years, instead of just making a new game for the next console. Oh, cool. Well, before we get to that, Mario Kart 8 got some DLC.
We all know that with
new tracks and
from all these other rankings, we know there are some bad remakes.
New characters, which, like, hey, the roster still isn't perfect, but this is better. Like, thank God we got Dry Bowser back, am I right, fellas? Plus, the new courses they added.
Shout out Dry Bowser.
Some of the most beloved tracks in the whole game, both on the Nitro and Retro fronts. Mario Kart 8 at this point was definitely one of the best in the series, if you ignore Battle Mode entirely. Thankfully, shortly after the Nintendo Switch launched, Mario Kart 8's ARM was finally complete, thanks to the world-renowned port, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It had an actual damn Battle Mode, on top of including all the DLC from the Wii U version and a couple new characters. How does it feel that Bowser Jr. and Dry Bones weren't in the game originally, but Pink, Gold Peach, and Baby Rosalina were? Nobody really complained about this port, because I think
now that is interesting. Dry Bones and King Boo, we're talking about just such classic characters. You can't leave them out of the initial game, so I can agree with you there. But big time to get Battle Mode back. We all needed it. Dude, Battle Mode, I've really enjoyed playing Battle Mode in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I will say.
Everyone pretty much understood that nobody bought the Wii U. So even though Mario Kart 8 was the highest selling game on that platform, clearly it deserved a second chance on this shiny new Switch thingy, instead of them having to make a new game from scratch. And what a second chance it got. This game quickly became a monster on the sales charts, never slowing down and selling consistently well across the Switch's entire lifetime.
Did that 8X?
And Nintendo capitalized on this game's success by
Hold on.
What's a second chance?
Was that an 8X? Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh, okay, no, it sold almost 66 million total, but like 8.5 million on Wii U, 57 million on Switch. Oh my gosh.
This game quickly became a monster. Capitalized on this game's success by doing absolutely nothing. They just kind of let it sell, and they never updated it with DLC or anything. All as the fanbase slowly starved as we waited for any sort of new content. I mean, we used to get new Mario Karts once every 3 years, so this was quite the drought, especially for those of us who had a Wii U and played this game there already. I guess we just had to wait until the next system for new Mario Kart content. Nope! Nintendo shocked all of us with the announcement of the Booster Course Pass. DLC that would effectively double double the course count, which came 5 years after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe initially launched on Switch, and 8 years after its debut on the Wii U. What took them so long? Well, it quickly became evident to anyone with eyes that these new courses were slightly tweaked versions of the mobile game spin-off Mario Kart Tours tracks. That game had a lot of original courses that needed to be preserved since it wasn't going to stay online forever, and Nintendo figured the easiest way to do that would be to finally add new content to the best-selling game on Switch. See, if I was Nintendo, I would have added new content to that game because it was selling really well, and I would have done it like 5 years earlier, but, you know, whatever, you do you guys. Anyway.
Dude, shading Nintendo? Come on now, Schaffrillas. Yeah. But hey, look. You know, they really couldn't go wrong. I mean, you know, this game was selling just millions of copies, and they weren't even touching the game. Like, what do you want them to do?
Despite its initial mixed reception, owed largely in part to how much the new courses look like ass compared to the original base game, the Booster Course Pass slowly won people over as it went on, delivering tons of absolute bangers in terms of retro remakes and brand new courses. They even finally gave this game the definitive Mario Kart character roster. I mean, you don't get much more definitive than a game that has Funky Kong, Pauline, Petey Piranha, Kamek, a cow outfit for your Mii, and Peachette, my favorite. I'm so glad she's here, you guys. So that's the history.
Schaffrillas, what you got against Peachette? What's your beef? I gotta know. I gotta know.
Deluxe. And I know that was a pretty long intro, but I felt it necessary to explain just what we're working with here. This is a game that started out.
Dude, that was a long intro. I was starting to be like, are we like, how much? That was me trying to look at my watch. I didn't hold it up high enough. For nobody knew what was happening there. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I mean, long intro. But like, look, a long intro is deserved to truly like paint the picture for the viewers of how long this game has been out there, the journey from Wii U to Switch, and you know, obviously you got to add in all those jokes that Schaffrillas has too. So
just any other Mario Kart with 32 tracks.
Come on now.
16 new and 16 retro. Then it got an additional 16 tracks in the Wii U DLC, raising the number up to 48. And then after 5 years of nothing, suddenly we got 48 more tracks over the course of 2 years, making that number 96. 96 tracks. That's 3 times the length of a typical Mario Kart. Some of them released 9 years ago, and
96 tracks we got to get through, along with battle mode.
Them released last month, which is kind of kooky to think about, but regardless, this is going to be an extremely long and kind of tough ranking. But I really want to give it my all and not rush through it, because this game absolutely deserves to be talked about in detail. Because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is without a doubt my favorite game in the entire series. Wii is a close second, but you just can't beat 8's finalized roster of characters and courses. On top of its smooth as butter controls. It just feels the best to play in terms of the gameplay itself and the staggering amount of content at your disposal here. But with that said...
Okay. This is okay. I'm not gonna dive into this too long because it's off topic, okay? But and this is a video Hayden and I may make in the future. But this is obviously an incredible game. I've really, as I've played this, you know, I got the game not even too long ago, but I've played it a lot since. Absolutely love it. My favorite Mario Kart game, though, I think has to be Double Dash, and Hayden and I both kind of agree on that. This is definitely a close second. But there's so many reasons that we both have for that, and, you know, we may end up making a video on that in the future. So let us know if you'd like that video. Also, let us know if you'd like us to do our own ranking of every track in this game. That'd be a crazy video to do, but... if you guys want it, we may have to bring it.
Its huge stack of courses isn't as consistent as, say, 7. There's a fair deal of garbage in this game from both the base version and the Booster Course Pass, so we'll have to deal with all that before we get to the great stuff. I would say let's jump in, but there's one other thing I want to explain about this video in particular. See, over the course of the past year, not only did I make a lot of Mario Kart videos, but I tuned into a lot of Mario Kart videos from other YouTubers. And for this last ranking, I thought it would be pretty cool to feature some of them and allow them to share their thoughts on some courses they really like or don't like. So I invited them on to do just that. Every now and then I'm gonna grab one of these item boxes floating around my cave here, which will spin the roulette and land on a different YouTuber, who will then talk for about 30 seconds about why they like or don't like a course. The ranking itself is completely dictated by my opinion, and they don't know where I rank different courses. Hell, some of them have pretty different opinions to mine, but that's cool. I like when people have different opinions. It's pretty interesting. So I hope you enjoy hearing what they have to say, and maybe check out their channels if you want to hear more from them. Okay,
Dude, shout out to Schaffrillas for doing that. I think that's a pretty cool idea to be able to, you know, feature other opinions within your video, to add in that, you know, different input or perspective, especially if they have a completely different opinion on a track than he may have. And that's kind of why, you know, we make these videos, is I like to hear Schaffrillas opinions, and, you know, I like to give a different perspective. I mean, there's a lot of things that I agree with Schaffrillas, but there's a lot of, you know, tracks and rankings that there's a lot of disagreement. So it's fun to see where everybody. And then I also love reading the comments, seeing where you guys rank everything. Everybody's got different opinions. Dude, what could possibly be at 96 though? Like I haven't. Okay, just last thing. I gotta stop pausing this video. It's gonna go on for 10 years, but I have not thought about my own ranking for this video at all. I don't know what I would put at the top. I don't know what I'd put at the bottom. So like this is. I may have various wildly different thoughts as I go through this video.
Worst course in this game was. There were just so many contenders for the coveted status of being the absolute bottom of the barrel out of all 96 tracks. It was a close race, but ultimately, I have to give this lot to the one track I absolutely cannot stand more than any other in this game. The remake that pisses me off to no end because of how thoroughly it butchers the entire appeal of its original version. The worst course in Mario Kart
he's not doing
Deluxe
it, is he?
Is GBA Sunset.
Oh, okay, he's not doing it.
What the f, Nintendo? Generally, this game has been really good at reimagining the tracks from Super Circuit and bringing them into the modern day.
I thought he was going in a different
Isn't it cool
direction.
that one of the most beloved courses from that game is still flat? Aside from 2 small hills at the end, they added no elevation whatsoever. They couldn't even be bothered to lift these boost panels any higher than not at all. This feels more like a remake of a Super Nintendo track than the actual Super Nintendo track remakes. It's even complete with those dumb multicolor blocks that horribly clash with the track's aesthetic. They also obviously removed the Shy Guy tents, probably for the best, but they didn't replace them with something nearly as interesting. It's just regular dancing Shy Guys who make for far less memorable obstacles. There are awkward mud slicks, I guess? I don't even know what these are because the texture's so weird looking.
Yeah, what am I looking at here?
It's just such a nothing inclusion of a course. Like, the good music is the only thing holding this one together. Well, that and its most famous gimmick, the sun setting as the laps progress. I can't wait to see that in glorious HD.
Oh.
Where's the sunset?
Oh.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Wasn't in the budget, Schaffrillas.
It's the one thing I expected this remake to have. The whole point of Sunset Wilds is that the sun fucking sets. It's like the one thing it knows how to do. The sun not only set in the GBA version of this track, but it also set in the Mario Kart Tour version of this track. You know, the mobile phone game that Mario Kart 8 ported the Booster Course Pass tracks over from. So if they could achieve this effect on a 32-bit handheld system and a mobile phone game, why in the sweet name of Shigeru Miyamoto could they not achieve this effect in an HD remake of this track released in the year of our Lord 2023 as a DLC edition to the 6th highest grossing video game of all time? But the lighting system in Mario Kart 8 doesn't allow the sun to dynamically set. Are you fucking stupid? Are you implying that the experienced programmers at Nintendo could not find a workaround for this in order to keep the most crucial gimmick intact for one of the most popular courses of Mario Kart Super Circuit? I'm gonna assume that they very well could have made the sunset, and they just didn't have enough time to figure it out because of the Booster Course Pass's release schedule. Or maybe they just never cared about including it since it still hasn't been added after Wave 6 dropped. Either way, if they knew they couldn't make this key element of Sunset Wilds work, then why the f did they decide to bring this course back? I would have sooner taken any other remake of any other course over this absolute bastardization of one of my favorite GBA tracks. I hate this remake more than words could possibly express, and I never elect to play on it under any circumstances. Unless, of course, I need to write up a detailed report of why this track is the absolute worst in all of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. With that said, the music saves it from being F tier, so congrats for only being D tier, buddy! You did it! Good job! But don't just take my word for it. Why don't we grab an item box and see which YouTuber can help me drag Sunset Wild's name through the mud?
Okay, wait. That didn't go to 2, did it? Okay, we're good. Alright, so clearly Schaefer is very upset. Very upset with Sunset Wilds, and I think, you know, his beef with it may have dragged it down a little too low for him. Again, I have no idea what I'd put at 96. I actually enjoy racing on Sunset Wilds. Look, it's not the craziest course. I understand that, but I have a good time. But, like, maybe I have a good time racing on every track, and that's where we have to draw the line in the sand somewhere. And so I can understand if Schaffrillas is upset about the Shy Guy tent being removed, the sun not setting. You know, Schaffrillas, big visual guy when it comes to these tracks, so I'm sure that knocked it down massively in his rankings. Not like if they kept the sunset added, you're probably looking at, I don't know, this is somewhere like in the 80s at least. Like, but Schaffrillas, big stickler for that. That's big point reduction for him. Wouldn't be as much for me. I'm surprised it's not added though, considering it was in the mobile version, but it's a little odd. it just wasn't in the budget. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't have too much to add. I actually, like I said, I enjoyed racing on this track, but I understand. Yeah, it doesn't have anything crazy. But let's hear what this guy has to say. Oh.
Looks like it's Get Mads.
GBA Sunset Wilds without the sunset? What next? Deep Cut without Big Man? Rhythm Heaven without Hubert? Crabs without the funny holes in them? So many people were hyping this track up to being a banger. So when it turns out to just be... Right. And it's missing a crucial part of its identity. Its perception goes from one of the best tracks stuck on the GBA to one of the best tracks stuck on the GBA. This is a deep fake. This track's perception is ruined for veterans and disappointing to newcomers. Just play Mario Kart Stadium instead. It's...
Okay, well, so... Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Actually, before I make that point, we gotta get past this ad. Alright, so here's the thing. I can understand the beef. And honestly, you know, I played the original. I just don't remember. I was just too young to remember the sun setting and really, you know, all the details like that. So I don't have as much beef about it, but I can understand it being a problem. But I don't know. I mean, I guess for one of the more basic tracks, like if we talk about Mario circuits and things like that, it's a much bigger deal to have like the sun setting mechanic on a super basic track like this than one of the more technical tracks that has a lot of different gimmicks and stuff. So I can understand it. And like I said, somebody had to come in last, and I think a track that isn't known for much, pretty basic, known for something specific not being added, you know, them taking it out is why this one gets targeted and gets put at the bottom. So I understand it. That's really all I gotta say.
Woo! Finally, Toad Circuit! Yeah, baby! Toad Circuit sweep!
gosh,
One
my
Toad
ears.
tickets! Much like how Patrick gaslit me into liking Figure 8 Circuit, I am absolutely obsessed with Toad Circuit solely because my friends started gassing it up as an ironic joke, and we never really stopped doing it.
Yeah, dude, I do the same thing. If you guys watch the streams, I gas up Toad Circuit. Toad Circuit's great. This is a blasphemous ranking, man. Toad Circuit needs to be higher. What are we doing, Schaffrillas?
But like, look at this majestic beast of a course. Don't you just adore the simple, incredibly boring
Yes.
layout, the untextured grass, and worst-looking Toad Balloon? The
Yeah,
fact that it was
no, the
selected-
Toad Balloon looks great. Toad Balloon, best part. Toad Balloon takes it up a whole tier, man.
over literally any other 3DS course, since all of them are better except like Cheap Lagoon. If this was the literal first course of the Booster Course Pass, maybe it would have felt a tiny bit more acceptable. But since we always got to start out with the city course, Toad Circuit gets to be course number 2. Isn't that cool? Do you guys love Toad Circuit as much as I do yet? Are you on my wavelength in terms of accepting this as the lord and savior of all of Mario Kart?
Did you ever see my tree collection?
Alright, but yeah, unchicanery for a second.
What?
This is maybe one of the most insulting picks in the entire Mario Kart series, and it pretty much became the poster child for the lack of effort Nintendo initially put into the Booster Course Pass. I feel like since they got it out of the way in Wave 1, it didn't really hit us as much as it should have how much of a wasted slot this is. There's very few tracks in this game I can call a wasted slot, but this one absolutely qualifies. The original was C tier for me, but I think the circumstances of this inclusion, coupled with the fact that every aspect of it looks worse than the 3DS version, makes it absolutely worthy of a D tier slot. Just terrible. One of the worst courses in the game. Except it's Toad Circuit, baby! I love Toad Circuit, Charlie! I love Toad Circuit! Actually, I do have an unironic compliment for it. I'm not really factoring how a course feels to play on 200cc into this, since that would make all of them really complicated to rank. But because of how simple this course is, it's actually a blast on 200cc. But like, so is Mario Kart Stadium, so who cares about Toad Circuit? Other than the fact that it's Toad Circuit, baby!
Yeah, I don't know. I think I may have to have Toad Circuit higher. Again, don't have the whole ranking fleshed out, but like, Toad Circuit's a fun little track, man. I enjoy it. I think in those Toad balloons, man, Toad inflatable balloons, they take it up. They take it up a lot for me. I mean, we're not talking about anything crazy here, but like, can Toad Circuit crack the 80s? Absolutely, absolutely. Like what are we about to listen to here? What's 94?
So, obviously, a ton of people have complained about the fact that so much of the Booster Course Pass has been taken up by Mario Kart Tour city courses, even though it's abundantly clear that those city courses are the whole reason the Booster Course Pass exists in the first place. Look, Mario Kart
I never
Tour
thought
is gonna
about
stay online
that.
forever. Eventually, all of the brand new courses in this game were gonna get lost to the ages, and putting them all in Mario Kart 8 was Nintendo's way of preserving them forever. This whole DLC was a city course laundering scheme. So as much as these courses typically don't live up
It's
to
a great point that Schaffrillas makes with these tour tracks. I mean, I didn't think about that, but it makes sense for Nintendo to do it. And look, I mean, there's some of the tour tracks that I really enjoy. So, I mean, even though I think there's too many of them in the Booster Course Pass, I would have preferred other tracks being brought back. But at the same time, like,
the fan favorites from real Mario Kart games.
That's why we got the
pretty much
Booster
all
Course,
had to
so.
be here. And to their credit, I don't think any of them are awful. Except for Tokyo Blur. What the hell happened here? Don't these devs, live in Japan? You'd think they'd have the personal experience to not make this course the most boring and generic thing ever. I mean, it's just a road. Adding a couple of thwomps here and there doesn't make this any less basic and short. Laps 1 and 2 are barely different, and somehow 3 is the worst and most boring lap of all. This course has nothing in it to make it stand out, and it does a really poor job of representing how beautiful of a city Tokyo is. All in all, you can really tell that this was one of the first city courses they made for Tour. It sticks out in a really bad way compared to the other much more ambitious city tracks.
Yeah, so Toad Circuit's better than Tokyo Blur. 100%. 100%. Tokyo Blur actually, I mean, that's in contention for my worst track, my least favorite. Again, we'll see what else he has coming within like the next 10. I mean, some of these I may think are worse than Tokyo Blur. Tokyo Blur is a literal blur of boring. I mean, it's just, yeah, there's nothing to it. It also doesn't do a good job of representing Tokyo, like he said. There's nothing to that track. It is so boring. I really, like, I don't even know if I have fun driving on that track, to be honest with you. I occasionally pick Toad Circuit on live stream, all right? I do it. Maybe it's just because other people don't want Toad Circuit, but I do it. I would never vote Tokyo Blur.
Oh my god, get out of here! I have no clue what they were thinking with this inclusion. Yeah, for the sake of fairness, I guess we gotta throw in some Super Nintendo tracks to keep all the 40-year-olds happy. But you could have picked any of the others that never came back. I hate the Vanilla Lakes with a burning passion, but the Tour remakes look a lot less terrible than the originals, so I'm mildly interested in playing them. Choco Island 1, I like the little bumps in the original. Put the little bumps in Mario Kart 8. Or you could have finally given us the triumphant return of Mario Circuit 4, which I really liked and would have much preferred since it's never been brought back before. But instead, it's Mario Circuit 3. Again. Why? It's no secret that the Booster Course Pass did some hardcore pandering to Mario Kart Wii fans with their selections, and that extends to the non-Wii courses as well. Waluigi Stadium was one of the most beloved GameCube tracks, but it was also a retro course in Wii. Peach Gardens is well liked, but it isn't the most beloved DS course, so why was it brought back over, say, Airship Fortress? Well, because it was a retro course in Wii. I really do think tracks being present in Mario Kart Wii was a major consideration for their inclusion. And la-di-da, guess which Super Nintendo track was in Wii? Yay! Anyway, discussing my crackpot theories on how this course made it in is way more interesting than discussing the course itself. I will admit that I kinda like the retro visuals here. Like, it's fine that it's not trying to do the same thing as Donut Plains 3 and modernize its look. But that course modernized its layout and made it a lot more interesting gameplay-wise. Here, you're just playing a faithful recreation of a Super Nintendo track. It doesn't feel right. It feels like a fan modded this in because nothing about it resembles the typical gameplay of a Mario Kart 8 course. Even a retro one. They've all been updated in significant ways, while this still feels like a relic of the past. Yeah, the turns can be kinda fun and it's not terrible to drive on, but it's just such a nothing inclusion. It adds such minimal value to the overall package of Mario Kart 8. I don't like it. I don't think it was a worthwhile inclusion on any level. Those are just my thoughts anyway.
Okay. I'm gonna go against the grain here a little bit and say some positives about this track. On previous rankings, you guys know I crapped on this track. It's not a good track. The one thing I do like the look of it in this game. I think they made it look as good as you can because there's really nothing much to it. But really, what I like about this track is how it plays on lap 3. There's not a lot of tracks where on lap 3 you could be in like last place and in the blink of an eye you're getting first. And obviously I don't like that as a mechanic that you see that is prevalent like all throughout Mario Kart, because it just takes a lot of the skill out of it if like on any course you can go from last to first immediately. But it adds a lot of variance to this specific track. It has the Baby Park effect where, I talk about how I love that, like especially on Double Dash, because it feels like a completely different experience within Double Dash, especially with the large items in the super narrow small track, right? If the game was filled with tracks like Baby Park, that would not be great. That would not be a great experience because it's just like you feel like your racing doesn't matter. And the same thing goes with if every track you could just go from last to first immediately. You know what I mean? So this track is such a chaotic and hectic lap 3. Like you could be in first halfway through the third lap and you're sweating because you have no idea. You could instantly drop like 10 places. So I don't know. I like that, like the chaos of it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Look, this is still a bottom tier track, no doubt about it, but at least it you know, there's a lot of tracks that don't have a great layout or don't have a lot of great mechanics in them, but at least this one can stand out in the fact that it, you know, it's going to race a little bit differently with that last lap just going crazy. So that's my little, you know.
But what does Scott think?
Mario Circuit
I'm sticking
4,
up
it's all
for it.
about Mario Circuit 3 because it's always Mario Circuit 3 because it's been remade the most of any Mario Circuit from Super Mario Kart, and for good reason. Just take a look at the difference between all the Mario Circuits and tell me which one you'd pick to have remade.
All right, let's take a look here. Yeah, probably this one. Probably this one.
Keep in mind, none is a valid answer. The way this looks.
Oh. Option 5, none of the above. Well, I failed.
Reeks about retro tracks looked back in Mario Kart Wii. You can tell because this was a retro track in Mario Kart Wii. Back when they just weren't up to snuff with the quality of the new tracks. Well, at least the music is like 2% different. As for the track itself, you know what? I'll use that silence as my response.
And now for the worst track to be included in the base game of Mario Kart 8. I wonder what it could be. It's Dry Dry Desert. Of course it's Dry Dry Desert. I can't stand this course. How lovely that the worst track from Double Dash reared its ugly head here instead of Mushroom City or Wario Coliseum. I don't even really like the latter, but it was definitely due for
what?
Anti-Dash reared its ugly head here instead of Mushroom City or Wario Coliseum.
Wait.
Desert. I can't stand this course. How lovely that the worst track
I gotta replay it because the 1.5x is throwing me off.
from Double Dash reared its ugly head here instead of Mushroom City or Wario Coliseum.
Oh, okay. He's trying to he's saying those two. I thought he was saying like those two tracks are near the bottom with Dry Dry Desert, which I'd actually kind of agree with you on Mushroom City, but he did rank Wario Coliseum way too low, but he didn't have it at the bottom, I don't think. But yeah, I mean both of those would have been much better additions than this.
I don't even really like the latter, but it was definitely due for an anti-gravity filled remake instead of this shit. Wow, they added an Oasis. Isn't that
Yeah, dude, this track. Oh my god, dude. The desert like, oh, I just can't stand them, man. Like, this is garbage. Like, dude, Toad Circuit's better than this. I feel like every ranking, there's one track that he puts low that I just, like justice for this track. And we just, like, push it up. We just push it up the rankings. But, like, dude, this is a garbage track. Like, like, oh my gosh, dude, I don't even have I don't have any thing to say for the viewers. I'm sorry, I have no commentary.
Just ignore that the name of the course is Dry Dry Desert. Like that's its
boring.
entire identity is that it's dry. Don't pay any attention to that. This is a great addition with geyser boosts that don't feel horribly awkward and unsatisfying. Hey, remember the big piranha plant in the Sarlacc pit?
Yeah, like the one good thing about it. Yeah, let's just remove that. Let's just remove the one cool feature instead of expanding on it. Like,
and the tornado from the original, those were kind of cool at least. Thank God this version completely got rid of them in favor of water. Tricking off the falling pillars and mushrooming through the sand can be fun sometimes, and that is the extent of this course's appeal. To be honest, I would have been totally fine if they gave it the N64 Wario Stadium treatment and just never brought it back ever. Who exactly was clamoring for its return? Name a single Dry Dry Desert fan, and I will submit evidence that they are either a bot or paid actor. An eternal waste of time that I will never enjoy.
I forgot to record transitions for the different tiers. With that said, we are now entering C tier. You know, fair enough, because yeah, there's not too many like bad tracks. And you saw there was no F tier tracks, only what was that, like 3 or 4 D tier. So like we're already on C tier. That's like average. Come on now.
While Tokyo Blur is in a class all its own in terms of being an awful tour city course, there's quite a few that are just really bland and unspecial. And one of those happens to be the British one. Wow, I can't believe it. London Loop is just a bunch of roads, with nothing to break up the monotony that comes from driving on them. I mean, there's a drawbridge, that's kinda cute. And I mean cute, because this is a drawbridge for piss babies. You wanna see a real drawbridge? Boom, Delfino Square. A course that just wasn't good enough to put in this game. But thank God we got Mario Circuit 3, am I right, gamers? I don't even remember what segment this was for. Oh yeah, London Loop. I forgot, because this course is so boring. Oh, but the chain chomps are a reference to the Queen's corgis. Yeah, that's great, but like, chain chomps are everywhere in this damn series. Who cares if they're in this course? Especially since it has no other obstacles aside from that. I can't stress enough. It's literally just a road. Who cares? The music is pretty cool, at least. It's a nice reference to British rock. And it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of making you feel anything when racing on this course. Again, not awful or anything, but man, is it just kind of a snore fest for me.
This is enough.
Okay, so yeah, this is definitely another one of the tour tracks that I think is pretty rough. Also, some of my beef with the tour tracks is I feel like I have no idea where I'm going. I can understand why they put all those arrows throughout the track to try to point you in the right direction. This is one of the tracks where I feel like, you know, as a fairly new player, especially when I was like really new to the game, I was constantly driving like the wrong direction. I don't know, maybe you guys are just gonna say get good. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty decent at the game. I don't know, but I get lost because the whole map looks the exact same. I feel I'm just driving on the same road, it's just, yeah, there's nothing special about this either. It's confusing. It's boring. It's not good.
Another new ability called Ultra Hand.
Why does everybody and their mother pick GBA Mario Circuit Online? What do you people see in this course? Yeah, it's slightly more interesting than its original version, mainly because they lifted part of the track up with Ultra Hands to make an anti-gravity section. That's pretty neat, but as soon as you're over, it's back to reality, where most of the course is boring as shit. I would have sooner taken any other GBA course than this. Even the ones I ranked lower, because at least their unique themes would make for more interesting remakes. Hell, the Booster Course Pass proved me right, since I ranked Snowland and Boo Lake lower than Mario Circuit, and they're both so much more interesting than it in this game. Can you believe this used to be the only GBA remake in Mario Kart 8, until the ensuing DLCs made this the premier Mario Kart in terms of remaking GBA tracks? Whatever, it's fine, the pit stop on the side is still cute, but man, do I never want to play this course. Stop picking it online!
That's kind of funny. It's kind of funny that everybody's picking it online, and Schaffrillas, he's not too happy about it. Yeah, I don't love it. I think the anti-gravity, top part is pretty cool at the beginning, but, it's fine. Like, again, I feel like I don't get as low on, like, the Mario circuits as Schaffrillas does, because a lot of them at least have kind of their own unique feel to them, but, I mean, if you're counting that SNES one, then this is definitely second worst, I would say.
Whoo boy, I've been waiting to talk about this one. I cannot stand the remake of Toad's Turnpike. They took something so unique, both aesthetically and gameplay-wise, and turned it into...
He was a big fan of the original Toad's Turnpike, so for him to rank it this low, it's wild.
Just a worse version of Moonview Highway. And I thought this way before they added Moonview Highway into the game. So this course is even more worthless now. Coolio. The amazing, unique skybox from the original is gone. Replaced with regular-ass night. There's pointless wall driving. The item boxes on the sides have been replaced with coins, which is much less cool. And perhaps the biggest issue is the fact that they made the track so much wider, meaning the tight, difficult traffic dodging segments of the original are pretty much entirely gone now. The cars are so easy to dodge, meaning you're just left with a pretty boring figure eight. Hey, does that sound familiar to anyone? There's precisely one cool new addition to this course, and that's these trucks that have glider ramps in the back. Those can be pretty fun to utilize. Otherwise, this is a baffling miscalculation that doesn't have anything I like about the original Toad's Turnpike. Even the music, while fine, can't really be considered a legitimate upgrade from the original. I pretty much never want to play on this course, especially now that Moonview Highway is back. Finally, a real traffic dodging course.
John, this toothbrush is bone dry.
Okay, so honestly, I kind of agree with them about Toad's Turnpike. I'm not a big fan of it in this game. The first time I played it, I kind of got Moonview Highway vibes too, which is pretty funny that he mentioned that. But yeah, I agree with what he was saying about it's just way too easy to dodge the vehicles, the incoming traffic. And I mentioned it in probably multiple reaction videos before, and then also our Double Dash ranking video about, like, if you're going to put traffic in a Mario course, I need it to be chaotic. I need it to be hectic. And this is just, it doesn't do it. Like, the vehicles don't drive particularly fast. It's way too wide of a map to where if you really aren't ever gonna get hit by them. Even the like ramp feature on top of the trucks that he mentioned, like, it's pretty cool. But like, when I'm like playing in serious games against friends or on stream or whatever, like, I like don't even really try to utilize it. Like, it's cool to try to like land it and utilize it, but I feel like there's a way better chance that I mess it up, or like even if I do land it, like it's not even really giving you an advantage. I feel like you're not gaining any ground, so it's like, where's the risk reward in that? Kind of like Mushroom Bridge in Double Dash at the end, where you go up like the actual sides of the bridge. I'm like, dude, what's the risk reward here? It's just totally not worth it. So yeah, I really am not a big fan of this track, and the whole setting kind of is just dull and bland. So yeah, kind of sad that Toad's Turnpike
Dry. Like, you look down and he said,
is
bone
going
dry.
that low.
Dry
But
Dunes is the near unanimous pick.
ooh. See, I'm not a desert course guy like Schaffrillas, but Ooh.
For the worst brand new course added to Mario Kart 8. And like, yeah, it's painfully unspecial. I think the color of the sand at least makes it look a lot nicer than Dry Desert. Plus it has a slightly more interesting layout. But like, what's really going on here that makes you care at all? The piranha plants are bone piranha plants. There's a pointless anti-gravity path. The skull looks like Dry Bowser. There are dry bones as obstacles, even though in the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8, dry bones wasn't even playable yet. It's like, who cares? The theme is boring as sin, and the gameplay on this course is absolutely nothing special. It's not quite an awful course, just an incredibly mediocre one with no reason to play it. I have to assume that the brand new Wii U DLC courses that weren't themed around a certain series, like Dragon Driftway, Ice Outpost, Super Bell Subway, or Wild Woods, were scrapped course ideas for the base game. So like, they prioritized the most boring course idea ever over all of these choices, which all ended up being much better tracks. Good choice, Nintendo. Glad to see you guys have your priorities in order.
Okay. See, I'm not a big desert course guy. You guys know this. I think I like Bone Dry Ruins a little bit more than that. I don't even really know what to say about it, because it is just like meh. It's okay. For like, I understand they got to put in the desert tracks, and for a desert track, this one's okay. I think it's like he said, like looking at this track, the sand color, just everything about it is so much more just visually appealing than like a dry desert, to where I'm not completely bored racing on this track. And you combine that with the fact, at least it's new, to where it's like dry desert, it's like its boringness is like multiplied, because it's like I've raced, even though it's remade, it's like I've raced on this track so many times on other, Mario Kart games, like it just makes it that much worse. But it's like Bone Dry Ruins, at least it's new, it's a little refreshing. You got some new enemy types in there, like it does some things, okay? It's nothing groundbreaking. I wish they could have a groundbreaking desert track out there to make me kind of come around on the theme, but I think I'd maybe go a little bit higher on this one.
This is the ride!
Water park is genuinely so frustrating to me. I mean, have you ever been to a water park? You know how fun some of those slides are? Now imagine a Mario Kart course based on one of those slides. You could have rushing water boosting you like in Big Blue, or half-pipe sections where the course takes a sharp turn. There are so many possibilities with this theme. So what did Mario Kart do with it? Here's a bland mushroom cup course where a bulk of the track is just one really dull turn. What? That's it? That's what you did with this theme? What a ripoff. A star or special cup course based on a water park would have slayed. And they could have just made a mushroom cup course based on Dolphin Shoals. Why did that theme need the star cup treatment? Man, I'm actually kind of pissed off with how much missed potential there is with water park. It has a great amusement park aesthetic with absolutely none of the thrills. At least you can bonk your head against a Wario-themed Ferris wheel. That's kind of fun. Otherwise, yeah, this is nobody's favorite course for a reason. I'd rather play on that Waluigi seabed thing in the background. That looks sick as hell.
Okay, so I totally agree with Schaffrillas on this one. So I'll give you guys a little insight here. When I first got the game, I hadn't watched like really Mario Kart 8 gameplay, so I had like never seen this track before. Load up the game, see the mushroom cup, and see the water park, and I was like, it was one of the courses that I was like wanting to play the most. I'm like, oh my gosh, a water park? Like, that's sick. That's so cool. Such a good course idea. Like, this is going to be awesome. And then I raced on it, and I'm like, it's kind of boring. And so I totally agree. There was so much missed potential on this one, and this could have been such a cool track. I love the ideas that he proposed, where you could have actually been racing, on the water of like a water slide like Big Blue. Super cool idea. You could have made this one. Like, why not make this one a 3-parter where, you, like the first part, you're entering the water park kind of like you are on this track. And then, you're traveling around seeing a lot of the different amusement rides that you kind of see like in that middle section. And then, add something else in the middle section. And then how about the third section is you like going down a couple of like the big water slides. Like, I don't know. I think that way, like having the 3 different sections where you're kind of getting like a completely unique experience throughout the water park and you're exploring it all, I think would have been perfect. I just definitely think, they wanted to keep it probably pretty basic because they put it in the mushroom cup, but it's kind of chicken in the egg situation, because don't put it in mushroom cup and then you can kind of go crazy with it. So a lot of missed potential here. I was so excited to play this track, and it was such a big letdown.
got a creamy filling.
Graphically, this game's version of SNES Donut Plains 3 is pretty impressive. I mean, it looks gorgeous from the grass to the puddles on the ground. Comparing this to how Mario Circuit 3 looks is just comical. With that said, yeah, it's still a remake of a Super Nintendo course, one that I didn't even like that much in its original version. I mean, the moles can't even latch onto your cart anymore. This is bullshit. I will give it points for having a pretty cool underwater shortcut. Pulling this off can be pretty sick. But overall, yeah, it's a Super Nintendo remake. I don't really know what you want from me here.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of enjoy racing on this track. It's a fine track. I'm not like incredibly upset when it's picked. If I'm, playing Mario Kart, but if this gets picked like more than once, we're gonna start to have a little bit of a problem.
Twisted Mansion has always been a rather unpopular course, and yep, I can see why. It's a pretty generic ghost level. There really isn't anything here that you haven't seen before. It aesthetically borrows from Boston Building without any of the fan service that made that course stand out. The split, twisty roads at the beginning just feel like Wii Bowser's Castle again. There's a cute shortcut through this library, but after that, we find out that a large portion of this course is underwater for some reason, and that's it. There's nothing interesting going on throughout this entire middle chunk. You're just supposed to be impressed that they haven't called the plumbing department in weeks. Then after
We're the Mario Brothers.
for a kinda nifty split path gliding section and some kinda cool statue obstacles with hammers, that's it. There's not much functionally wrong with this track, but it's just so forgettable and bland. Has its moments, but I could genuinely go the rest of my life without playing it again.
Again, yeah, I like how I'm able to draw on my like beginner experiences with this game. I just think it makes for some interesting points on this reaction video. So when I first played the game, I was very confused about this track. I'm like, is this a remake? Why does it look so familiar? Like, what's happening? And so, like he said, yeah, it takes a lot from the DS Mansion track. But, yeah, this is just, it's boring, dude. Like, I thought the underwater section was, like, kind of cool the first time I played. But now I'm like, it's kind of whatever. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like the shortcut's, like, kind of hard to pull off in the little dirt. It's just... it's bland, and there hasn't been too many mansion tracks, and even though they may not have all been my favorite, I feel like they all have kind of stood out to me. I completely forget that this one is in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Today is it
Told me LA was a tar pit.
Los Angeles
We're
Wax.
back.
Now,
I'm
despite
sure
living-
that we're gonna have a ton of ads in this one, and the comments will say get YouTube Premium, and we should get YouTube Premium. But we don't have it yet, so we're just gonna have
America.
to.
I've
We're
never
just gonna
actually
have
been
to
to LA
fight
because
through
the west
here.
coast of this country
Battle.
might as well be a different continent.
Let's
from the
all
East
power-
Coast. I'm
power
a Pennsylvania
through.
boy, which is like one state away from New York. So I have
Power
many more
through,
opinions on how
everybody.
New York Minute represented city than LA.
Hopefully I
But,
did not
I know there's some cool stuff
blast
in LA.
in your
The Griffith
eardrum.
Observatory, the Hollywood sign, the Walk of Fame. I wonder what this course adapted.
Sorry, that's enough
boy,
of that.
Jesus.
That's enough.
I guess LA really is a tar pit, huh? Aside from this incredibly bizarre
look at the
choice for
jokes
city
from
tracks, the rest of this
Schaffrillas.
course is
Coming out
honestly forgettable
strong.
and not all that fun. It really feels like there's more interesting things you could have done than beach and palm trees. The baseball stadium you fly through is cute, but like, how many damn sports stadiums are we gonna have in these courses? It's really not that special of an idea. Overall, just kind of bland, even by city court standard.
Yeah. Okay. I don't mind LA. I don't mind the LA track. Like, I think there was some lost potential. I think you could have done some cooler things with the city of LA, like putting the baseball stadium in here doesn't, like, it gets a little bland. There's a lot of sports stadiums in these tour tracks. Also, interesting choice to do a baseball stadium in LA. Like, I know it's bright and sunny, but like, I don't know. I don't think baseball goes crazy in LA. I mean, LA definitely biggest for basketball. I mean, I know the Dodgers have been really good for a long time, but I mean, like, it's not a baseball city. So, kind of confusing there. Again, I like the different areas. You got the beach area, you got like the boardwalk, but again, I just think you could have done cooler areas for LA, but oh, wait. What was it? We're
Overall,
entering
just
C+.
kinda bland, even by city court standards.
LA was the only pure C tier. How is LA the only pure C tier when didn't we do multiple tracks in C tier? I feel like we got multiple tracks since he did that
one of
little
the biggest
cut.
problems with the city courses as a whole is that the ones
So that
they
means
picked
were those
just
first
way
ones
too
C-?
Eurocentric. Like, North America got 3, Asia got 3, Australia got 1, South America and Africa got absolutely nothing, and then there's Europe with a whopping 7 of them. Hello? Rio and Cairo got shafted for boring, samey European streets? I feel like putting aside their track design, all you really needed in terms of representing Europe was London, Paris, and Athens. The big 3 with enough aesthetical differences to stand out from the others. Like, I'm sorry to my German fans, but we really did not need Berlin byways. Cute music and all, but mainly it's just road. Like, the entire second lap is just road, with no real interesting attractions. I think they knew they had to spice this one up however they could, since this is the only city track they added ongoing traffic to. I mean, it's a better traffic course than Toad's Turnpike, but how much is that really saying? This course's only real notable attribute is the fact that it has the Berlin Wall, indicating that communism and the fall of it exists within the Mario universe. Neat, I guess. It's also kind of neat how this is the only course in all of Mario Kart to have womps in it. I had to do a double take when I read that fact. Surely there's been another one, but nope. This is the only time there's ever been womps. So thank you, Berlin Byways, for adding womps and communism to Mario Kart.
I didn't know those guys were called Womps, but I did like the addition of them in this track, I will say.
Unfortunately, you're still very boring otherwise.
I am the dragon.
Yeah, I don't have much comment on that one. I like the Womps. You got the Berlin Wall, as Schaffrillas noted. You know, he made some good points. Honestly, that course is ranked too high. Like, we need to drop that one down a little bit. Bump up Bone Dry Ruins or whatever that. See, I think that's what it's called. Where's Toad Circuit? Toad Circuit? Can Toad Circuit get some love?
Warrior.
Dragon Driftway is home to a super cool theme. I mean, not only is it all inspired by Chinese architecture, but you actually drive through Gobblegut from Super Mario Galaxy 2. What a nice deep cut. Unfortunately, however, I've never been a huge fan of this one. It just kind of feels like one narrow line without much room for deviation or interesting design. The aesthetics and music are cool. I really do love the Kung Fu Lakitu theme, but I do kind of find the singular road with no real obstacles kind of boring. Just not for me. Sweet. Sweet.
Oh, wow, that's the end of it. Wow, okay. I think probably a little low for Dragon Driftway. I feel like some people really like that track. Like, maybe it's in their top 20, top 30. I feel like I'm probably somewhere in the middle. It's certainly not my favorite. I kind of agree with them. I don't love how, like, singular it feels in, like, one road. I also don't love, like, the feeling of driving on this one. It also has just, like, a lot of, like, little, like, hills in it where, like, I feel like I want to do, like, you know, jump up to get, like, the boost, and, like, I just can't, which is strange. It also has, like, a lot of, like, little slight turns or, like, camera angle changes where you're, like, you know, your vehicle's tilting a little bit, but not really enough to do anything. Yeah, I don't love it. I don't have any strong opinions about it, really. You know, I'd be curious to know where all of you have that track ranked. Like, is that a track that a lot of you think is super good, or is it in the middle, or do you agree with how low he has it? I don't really know the consensus. I thought some people really liked it, so you'll have to let me know.
But for the most part, it's also kind of forgettable. I think the Sweets theme was generally a great idea, even if they most likely borrowed it from Wreck-It Ralph's Sugar Rush. Like, I don't even think that's an unreasonable accusation. The dates line up pretty nicely. Bowser
It's certainly not an unreasonable accusation. It's pretty
was
similar.
in the movie. I think this is a pretty clear homage. Also, did you even notice that I called it Sweet Sweet Kingdom when its name is actually Sweet Sweet Canyon? Be honest. Kingdom is the name of the battle map. I know, crazy that anyone would get those two confused. But that kind of ties into my main issue with this course. I just don't think it's
I didn't catch it.
memorable.
I'll blame that on the 1.5 speed.
Our Mushroom Cup course, the layout is really basic, not really making great use of the soon-to-be overused two alternate paths gimmick. And I also personally don't really like the overall aesthetic. There's a couple cute little touches, like the gingerbread people in the stands, the arrows that are made out of heart cookies, and the donuts are pretty good looking, I guess. But overall, I just feel like it should be more colorful, and that the realistic art style that makes the rest of Mario Kart 8's tracks stand out and look incredible is kind of a detriment to this one. Like, I don't really think many of the foods look that appealing, and that orange piss water is especially kind of gross. I've never once thought I want to eat this course, like I did.
Yeah, I never understood the like little water stuff. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Is that syrup? I have no idea, but it doesn't look good.
For say Choco Mountain. It's kind of cute, like I said, but overall it doesn't really live up to the legacy of Sugar Rush.
Well, see, here's the thing. I want you to take a look at this real quick. Take a look at the colors here. Like, take a look at that. Okay. Take a look at these colors. Take them in. Picture it.
Cute, like I said, but overall it doesn't really live up.
Oh, I just missed it. I just missed it. Hold on. It's a quick cut.
Choco Mountain. It's kind of cute, like I said, but overall it doesn't
You see those colors? Okay. What's the difference, everybody?
really live up.
What's the difference? The difference is the colors from the movie infinitely brighter. Like, when we're talking about this
Like, I
track,
really think
like, it just all looks so bland. All the colors of everything, and so like he said, it just none of it looks appealing. Like you'd want to eat it. None of it stands out. It all just feels like kind
any of
of
the foods
there
look
in
that
the
appealing, and that orange
background.
ice water is
Like it's kind of just there instead of like being like, whoa, like look at all this like candy and food around us. It's kind of just like lost in the background. I feel like, I don't know. So that's that. It's not a
Cheeseland
great
is up there
track.
as one of the most divisive courses in the game. One of those tracks that could turn up towards the top or the bottom of people's lists. And yeah, maybe I'm lactose intolerant because this really does not appeal to me. I really enjoyed the
That was a good joke.
original course by the standards of Super Circuit. It looked like it was on the moon, and there were little mice everywhere. That's some good stuff. There was nothing like it before in the series, and I would have loved to see how they modernized it. So yeah, anyway, now it's just any old desert. You're welcome. Like, there are good details like cheese and pizza-shaped rocks in the background. I like the cheese holes
You can't make yourself a desert track for Schaffrillas. It's gonna get a low placement.
took off of. It's not devoid of creativity as a reimagining, but like, was it worth removing the mice and the overall alien look and feel of the course? You could have had those elements in the background on top of updating the track design, but instead, you turned one of the most unique feeling courses in the series into just another desert. Oh, but now there's chain chomps! Wow, how innovative! Never seen those on any other course before. Is it fun to play at least? It's fine. There's good shortcut opportunities, especially with these glider ramps close to the finish line. But overall, it's just kind of dull. I can't even pretend to be impressed with the pizza rocks. I've had enough pizza and Nintendo games to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Cheeseland. I'm kind of surprised to hear him say that it's like one of the most divisive tracks. Not a big fan. It's kind of boring to me.
I kind of feel like everyone's a little disappointed with Mario Kart 8's Rainbow Road. Coming off the insane high that was 7's version, this one is aggressively average and kind of boring. A chunk of it is just some random satellite, its overall mechanized look doesn't inspire any awe, and going back to 3 laps rather than sections feels especially downgrady when you compare it to the previous Rainbow Road. Hell, it's not a favorable comparison with any other Rainbow Road in the series, honestly. Maybe this one is slightly better than the GBA version, and that's about it. It's really not a bad course. It has alternate paths you can jump between, which is pretty sick. The drift at the end is pretty fun. It's a solid enough time, but the thing is, this is a Rainbow Road. It should have something unique about it. Some sort of attribute that makes it feel special, instead of just being a decent enough course. It's pretty telling that this single game has 5 Rainbow Roads in it, and all of the ones they brought back from previous games completely outshine this one. Notice how the box art for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe uses the N64 Rainbow Road instead of its own version. That's honestly kinda
tough.
sad.
That's
you know,
tough.
We haven't really had an item box cameo in a while.
I hadn't even thought about that, but that is tough.
Almost like most of the people I got for this wanted to talk.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see him rank it this low, but like after thinking about it, I mean, I was just shocked because it's like you don't normally see the Rainbow Roads get ranked this low, but I am not really a fan of this track. I think it's quite boring. Like whenever this one gets queued up, I'm like, ugh, it's just long and tedious, and yeah, just nothing stands out, man. Like nothing about it.
Talk about the good courses. Go figure. Hey, there's one. It's my friend Olivia Mendel. She doesn't really make gaming content, but she was very much down to talk some Rainbow Road.
As someone who only has a Wii and thus considers Rainbow Road from that Mario Kart to be your favorite due to nostalgia, gosh darn it, the 8 Deluxe one is so fun to play on my friend's Switch. At least this one's in glorious 1080p and not 480. It's above the Earth's atmosphere, just like the Wii's, that's cool. And I love the color palette of the titular rainbow. It's such a lovely use of pastels, and I think looks a billion times better than the N64 and SNES courses. It's so much more aesthetically pleasing. Overall, this course is a blast. I love how much airtime you get. It's so camp. I love it. Oh, yeah, and also...
So
Wow, so this is interesting. This is the first, like, contrasting opinion to Schaffrillas. Interesting notes. Again, I don't find this track very, visually pleasing, but again, that's, it's all subjective. I mean, all these rankings everything about them is subjective, but, I mean, that's awesome if you really like the track. I think it just doesn't do it for me. I think when you have such a set a high bar for Rainbow Road, and this one, like every Rainbow Road I've played, I can like point to something, at least whether it's the best track in the game or not. Like I can point to something about it that stood out, made it special, made it unique, made it difficult, whatever. This one does none of it.
Asked everyone for cameos before Wave 6 dropped, hence why Olivia didn't talk about Wii Rainbow Road. So Olivia, now that the Wii version of Rainbow Road is back, how do you feel about the 8 version?
Oh. Huh. Well, I guess I don't need their trash anyway. Okay. There is no Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Rainbow Road embossing, so...
It's just an ordinary. Oh my
Oh.
goodness!
Mother of mercy, what
Are
did
we
you
retracting
do?
our comments on that
first
one
things
then?
first. You might be surprised that this isn't lower on my list, considering how much I teased my disdain for it in previous videos. Well, that's because, truth be told, this isn't a terrible course to play on. Like, compared to Sunset Wilds, which is boring as shit in this game, I do get some enjoyment here. It's pretty short, but between the leaf shortcut, bouncy mushroom, and especially this vine shortcut towards the end, which I think is actually faster even if you don't have a mushroom and just want to hop through it, I think this is a decent enough track gameplay-wise. That's on top of the stellar music. Like, this is amazing to listen to. I often find myself having fun on this course. But maybe you've noticed that I haven't said the name of the track. That's because I simply don't know what this track is. Because it sure as hell is not Sky Garden. Like, this isn't me being pedantic or anything. Look at the minimaps for both of these courses. Now look at the aesthetics. I'm sorry, but if you radically change both the layout and the look of a course, then it's not the same course. So what if the general theme and music is the same? That doesn't make it Sky Garden. This course would have been perfectly fine if they had just called it Sky Garden 2. Or Cloudtop Cruise Jr., since that's really what it resembles more. They took my favorite course from Super Circuit, one that had a gorgeous green color palette, tons of unique, amazing shortcut opportunities, a fair deal of twists and turns, and an overall majestic atmosphere that I'd argue even exceeded that game's Rainbow Road. And they threw most of this in the f***ing garbage. This is right up there with the lack of sunset in Sunset Wilds as being one of the most insulting things in all of Mario Kart. I can acknowledge the mild fun I have on this course and ignore its shortcomings as a remake, since to me, this isn't a remake. I'm no stranger to calling courses by a different name, so shout out to Cloudtop Cruise Jr. for being decently fun. Weird that it stole Sky Garden's music and they accidentally attached the wrong name to it, but oh well. Man, I wonder if Sky Garden is ever coming back. I haven't seen it since the DS. Maybe someday.
So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that track. You know, I know I haven't reacted to a Super Circuit ranking. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for it. Hopefully that'll come at some point soon. But yeah, so you guys don't know my thoughts on it. That was one of my favorite courses in the game by far. I have to like get a full refresh of the game to know exactly where I'd rank it, but I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I kind of assumed that this track was like based on that, but I was like, it doesn't really feel like it. But I was like, maybe it's just because I haven't played Super Circuit in like 15 years, maybe longer. I'm like, I probably just like don't remember it. Well, Schaffrillas confirmed, yeah, they're not the same. That's a letdown, and it makes me feel a little bit better of my feelings toward the original in Super Circuit. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of that track. We're already in B tier though, which is pretty crazy.
It's the exact same as the 3DS version, except way worse visually, and gliding is a little bit stiffer in this game as a whole, meaning the gliding sections aren't as
way
fun.
worse?
So yeah, kinda not a great remake. Other than those downgrades, it's the same decent course as before, and I like how the mountain is anti-gravity now, so you can string together more boosts than before. But overall, kind of a net negative. I seriously can't think of a good reason why this was chosen for the booster course pass, outside of there being a rock cup. So we gotta have Rock Mountain in it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Look, I think the ship of putting courses that make sense solely because of their title into Mario Kart 8 sailed when they refused to bring over the banger untouchable masterpiece, Figure 8 Circuit. This just kind of feels like a wasted 3DS slot that could have gone to Wario Shipyard or one of the Woohoo Island courses. But at least it's not Toad Circuit, I guess. Whatever, tons of people are glad it's back, so if you're one of them, I'm happy for you. Or you hate its visuals now, sorry that happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great 3DS tracks out there that I probably would have rather seen than this one. But, you know, it's the Rock Cup, they gotta add Rock Mountain. That's just how it goes. So, look, this one, it's a fun little track. I didn't really play the 3DS game too much, so I can't really comment on the downgrades to the visuals and stuff, but I enjoyed it enough. Again, it's not some crazy track. It's not groundbreaking. This seems groundbreaking is what I tried to say there.
I can see why. Out of all
that
the
seems like a good
placement.
placement. Seems like a
this
good
is the
placement.
one that most obviously feels like it was made for a mobile game. It's just an oval with a whopping 2 turns and a somewhat excessive amount of track opportunities in between. Not only that, but since this was a Wave 2 course, Nintendo was still kind of reeling from a lot of the criticism they got from Wave 1. One common complaint was that none of the Wave 1 tracks had anti-gravity. You know, the thing Mario Kart 8 was known for. So it's been theorized that Nintendo saw this complaint and said, okay, fine, we'll just have an entire track be anti-gravity. This led to a ton of confused reactions when these railings that gave no visual indication they're going to be anti-gravity boosters gave you an anti-gravity boost. I don't know. A lot of things about this course just feel really sloppy and not that well thought out. With that said, I kind of like it. I don't know. Sorry. It's not amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I may have to put this one higher. I really like this course. I'm not even going to lie to you. I didn't even really realize it. It was just an oval. I didn't even realize it. It's fun. Again, you see how bright the colors are on this one compared to whatever that other track was that I talked about. Like, this is just so much more bright and vibrant and like it just feels like its own world. And then we got, you know, the desserts and everything just looking better. Everything about it is just, I don't know, it just stands out a lot more than the other track. And I really like the differences in elevation throughout the track too. You're constantly going up, down while you're like curving around the track. I really like this one. It's fun. And, you know, having anti-gravity the whole time, a nice, unique
but I really
little
enjoy all the
feature.
trick opportunities, the gliding segment where you can get an item box in this one hole, and the overall aesthetic. Like, the realistic look of base Mario Kart 8 was not a good fit for Sweet Sweet Canyon. But here, the brighter colors and simpler textures actually suit Sky High Sundae and make it look a lot more colorful and tasty. This is one of the only times the Booster Course Pass outdoes the base game at something graphically, in my opinion. So yeah, it's fine. I can understand the hate, but I can also find some enjoyment in it.
Well, I'm off to destroy Canada.
I don't know why, but I got a ton of messages saying that Vancouver Velocity was one of the best city courses, and that I better not rank it low. Okay, I don't exactly know what you all see in this.
Who's threatening Schaffrillas for the rankings? Oh, you better not rank this one low. You better not rank this one low. This better be top 10.
But B tier isn't low, right? We can all agree on that? It's a pretty solid track.
Well, I mean, B tier isn't low, but you have it ranked like 75 out of 96, so it's pretty low.
With some fun elements that add variety to it. Like, I enjoy this anti-gravity bridge portion, and the ice rink is nice as well. Yeah, I'm generally tired of there being so many sports stadiums on so many of these courses, but this is a very unique looking one, and you kinda have to have hockey represented for a Canada course. But like, I'm sorry, aside from those elements, nothing about this one stands out. It's decent enough, but the second and third laps really kind of blend together for me, and have nothing unique about them aside from the hockey rink. I just don't know if I see the vision here, guys. I prefer it over some of the other city courses, but it really doesn't stick out that much for me to call it one of Tour's greatest tracks. Who invited that kid?
Interesting note there. I agree with him about the laps blending together. I often forget which lap I'm on in this on this track. I really have no idea what's going on. Like halfway through the track, I get lost, and I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. But I think that one needs to be higher. I think it's pretty unique all the way through. Yeah. I just think Vancouver's got to be higher. I don't know how high all the people in his comments were saying that Vancouver needs to be, but that could go up a decent amount for me, for sure.
DS Mario Circuit. Possibly one of the most controversial choices for the Booster Course Pass. Everyone following the data mines knew that we were only getting one more DS course in Wave 4. So naturally, it was going to be Airship Fortress or Boston Building, right? Yeah, no, here's a regular-ass Mario Circuit. The game didn't have enough of those. I feel like they did this because this course, along with Shroom Ridge, were some of the only tracks that never got included as a retro course in a previous Mario Kart game. But like, Mario Kart Wii got popular fan favorites and tracks that never came back. They really just gave us Waluigi Pinball and Peach Gardens and said, okay, that's enough fan favorites for today. So we're stuck with a lame-ass Mario Circuit. But to be honest, maybe that's a bit unfair to say. If you ignore the circumstances of its release, it's actually pretty decent. Unique fire-spitting piranha plants, and a completely new forest area with a wiggler on the third lap. Plus, as for the graphics, it could have looked worse. I actually kind of like it for what it is. One of the better and more interesting Mario circuits out there. Ooh, look at that, it's item time again. Who do we got?
Who's doing item time on DS Mario Circuit?
It's Albert Boris.
Hey everyone, I'm Albert Boris. So, DS Mario Circuit. Definitely one of the more difficult circuit courses in the series. The turns are tighter than usual, and the fire projectiles from the piranha plants can be surprisingly difficult to avoid. The remake in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe also turned one of the sections into a forest with a wiggler roaming around on lap 3. And that's pretty neat. It may not be the best course of all time, but for Mario Circuit, it's really charming with quite a lot of elements. Now, if only you could drive backwards for the castle on lap 3.
I'm Lake.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much to say on that one. I wish the forest was longer. Forest, good addition, but let's make the forest longer.
Boo Lake is a short, simple, but necessary update to one of my least favorite tracks in Super Circuit. It was way too difficult, miserable, and lakeless in its original version for me to enjoy it. But here, it's decently fun and cool looking. Plus, they membered the lake! This remake makes great use of both underwater driving and anti-gravity, with a really cool and actually kinda tricky shortcut, and a killer ending where you trick out of the water and get a view of the moon. A moon view, if you will. It's really short and some of the turns are annoyingly sharp, which kinda hold it back a bit. But for the most part, a pretty solid addition to the track lineup.
Hi, I hate this.
Boo Lake. I really enjoy this one. I think it's gotta be higher. Gotta be higher for me. That and Vancouver, I think, are probably what I would have as my two biggest discrepancies so far.
I'm gonna be honest. I think they went way too far when pandering to the Mario Kart Wii crowd. And I'm part of that crowd. Mario Kart Wii was my childhood game, and it's my second favorite in the whole series. But like, damn, 11 of the 16 original tracks from that game are now in 8 Deluxe? Don't you think that's a little ridiculous? It's ironic, because one of my biggest problems with the original Mario Kart 8 was how little love it gave to Wii. But this is too much. I think 8 or 9 courses would have been a perfectly fine number, because 11 just makes me feel overstuffed. I mean, maybe if one of those 11 was Toad's Factory, that would have been a different story. But instead, we got Daisy
How did
Circuit
we
for
not
some
get
reason.
Toad's
I genuinely
Factory?
have no idea why, but hey, I love Daisy Circuit. I said it was probably my favorite circuit course in the whole series back in my Wii ranking. I'm down to play on it again, and... huh. It's kinda whatever. Like, it's a good, solid course, but something about it is just not hitting the same. But how can that be? It's very similar gameplay-wise. They added a few ramps and boosts, plus a glider section in that one shortcut. By all accounts, I should love this remake just as much as the original. What's missing? I hate to say it, but I really think it's just the skybox. The Wii version of Daisy Circuit has one of my favorite skyboxes in all of Mario Kart. A truly amazing orange sunset that casts a gorgeous vibe over the entire race. It's an absolute delight, and this new one makes Daisy Circuit feel like just any other course. I don't know, I'm really struggling. I'm racking my brain trying to come up with any other reason why I don't like this new version as much. I really think it boils down to being bored with the presentation here compared to the original. It's still a good course, but man, I think the Booster Course Pass taught us all a valuable lesson. If you remove the sunset from a course, I'm not gonna like it nearly as much. This isn't the most butchered Wii track in this game, but other Wii remakes are based on courses that were stronger originally. Thus, their worst remakes do rank a bit higher. So ultimately, Daisy Circuit
I think I know what he's talking about when he says
is
that.
step too far for me when it comes to the Wii representation. I'm sorry guys, it really didn't need to be here soaking up all the riches of this game while Mario Kart DS fan favorites bleed out in the street. Sorry for being shallow and only judging Daisy Circuit's worth based on looks, I guess.
Yeah, so we gotta get through an ad again. I keep trying to, make a point and then an ad comes. So, I lose my train of thought. But, so I think he brings up a good point with the skybox being a problem. But I think it's not just that. Something does feel off to me on this one as well. I really enjoyed the Wii one. I think it's just, look, when you go to remake something, people are, they're excited, especially if they like the original track, but it's like, you gotta make it still feel special or different. That's why you gotta add something to it, and it's harder, especially for the circuit tracks that normally don't have a lot in them either. And because they're circuits, they don't really want to add too much to them. So there's nothing you can really do about it. So I feel like, just having Daisy Circuit seemed really awesome in Wii. It didn't even feel like a circuit track. In this one, it kind of feels just more like a circuit track because, you've already played it a ton and there's just nothing new to it.
I really wish Merry Mountain could have been a slam dunk, considering just how good the theme is. It's Crimbus! Aesthetically, this course is amazing, with candles, presents, candy canes, snow, a train, hello base department, even the road right here at the starting line. That is a great looking texture that really evokes.
I will say, my only comments about Merry Mountain, Hayden and I did probably a 3-hour stream with viewers of Mario Kart 8. Again, if you guys don't watch the live streams, you guys gotta hop in there. Great time. We play with viewers. It's a blast. But this was right around Christmas time, maybe right after Christmas, and the whole 3 hours, nobody picked Merry Mountain once, I'm pretty sure. So that should tell you everything you need to know about this track.
Christmassy vibes. The first half of the course also plays great, with this alternate train track path being a fun touch. It's a truly magical experience. Until you get to the mountain part of this Merry Mountain. This is, kind of lame. There really isn't anything going on with the second half of this course, especially not on this descent. Wow, a glider on the second and third lap. We couldn't have had that on the first lap, don't get crazy now. It's so frustrating how this course just fizzles out into nothing by the end. Just put some snowmen or penguins here or something. On top of that, it's a dreaded oval shape. And while it's more varied than Sky High Sunday, it definitely could have been a lot more ambitious, considering the standards of some of the other non-city tour courses. Finally, this is just a nitpick, but why is that half pipe there? Who in their right mind is going to use that instead of just drifting around this corner? Yeah, have fun falling behind Merry Mountain half pipe enjoyers. Oh well, still a decent course.
Well, if you're near the very back, you're in last place, let me get the double item box instead of the one.
But the theme
Just
definitely carries it hard. You know what though? Maybe I'm missing something. If only someone were here to teach me about the true meaning of Merry Mountain. The 7 Arlo elves! Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Arlo!
Merry Mountain is a simple track. It's just one big loop with a hill. And that hill isn't even very exciting, especially on the way back down. But the vibes, you see, the vibes are incredible. The quaint little village, the flying train, the mountain of presents, the view from the top. It's pure, cozy, Christmassy goodness. Sure, maybe it's slightly awkward to race here when it's not Christmas time, which is most of the time. But I don't care. Merry Mountain is a track that just makes me feel nice.
Honestly, guys, the Booster Course Pass was not cooking with most of its 3DS editions. Besides the one obvious exception, this is a pretty mid-selection that really could have benefited from, I don't know, Shy Guy Bazaar, Wario Shipyard, fucking Woohoo Island courses. But no, we got Rosalina's Ice World instead. Everybody's favorite. I will concede that this new version is a slight improvement. Much like Neo Bowser City, the aesthetical upgrade alone is enough to make this the best version of this course out there. It's very pretty, and they even added an extra ramp towards the end and some half pipes that are actually pretty usable since you're gonna find yourself driving on the side of this ice wall anyway. It's got some solid updates, but not nearly enough of them to make this track significantly better than how it was in 7. Hate to say it, but I really wish they didn't bother with this one considering all the other courses that this lot could could have gone to. It's fine, it's decent, but it's only been a month and I've already kind of forgotten about it.
This is another one where I have to really disagree with Schaffrillas here. I thought he was way too hard on this track in the Mario Kart 7 video. I really enjoy this track. I think it's a really solid addition. And I think the remake is definitely better than the original. I think they added a couple things that are really nice. I think it's pretty difficult to race on. I think it's got a little bit of its own feel. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy this one. Like, it's certainly nowhere near like the top of my ranking, but again, I just think, I don't know why, but he's never been a fan of this track, and I think, you know, it's just a spot where we're gonna disagree.
What? The Electric City!
Okay, I'll admit, while it was far from a 3DS course I wanted to see in the original DLC for this game, this new version of Neo Bowser City is definitely an improvement over the original. I actually don't mind it here. Visually, it's a huge step up, fully realizing what the original was going for and looking incredibly cool rather than tacky. They added an extra trick opportunity towards the beginning, and drifting along the ending section is really fun, especially if you got a mushroom to do shortcuts. This still isn't an amazing course in my eyes, like it really just is turns and nothing else for the most part, but thanks to the atmosphere actually atmosphering in this version, I think it's pretty decent, and I don't mind it that much now. We should probably hear from a bigger Neo Bowser City enjoyer than me, though. Like... G-Wall Pro.
If you don't like Neo Bowser City, then I'm sorry, but you're just not good at Mario Kart. Well, I said it. This track got a huge visual upgrade in 8. Like, I legit want to live in this city with how awesome those skyscrapers and neon lights look. Supposedly, this track was going to be a circuit track, which explains its top-tier soundtrack being a nice remix between 7's title theme and circuit theme. While I do wish they removed some of the rails to make the track even harder, you cannot lie. With the track as is, nailing every drift and race flawlessly is about as satisfying as it gets.
I don't think I can agree with the statement of if you don't like this track, you're just not good at the game. Because I think part of doing rankings or like ranking my enjoyment on the game isn't just like I try not to insert complete bias into it and just be like, oh, like I'm really good at the game, I can hit all these turns, making it's like an A tier track. Like you have to factor in the whole player base. That's kind of just, you know, obviously my thoughts and experiences factor in to my opinions a lot, but you know, I try to think about it in a more general sense. I mean, to me, there's nothing special about that track. Also, I raced on it on 200cc for the first time not too long ago. That was miserable. It's not even like, oh, well, you're just not good at the game. It's like, it's just like takes the fun out of racing in Mario Kart for the amount of like braking and just like the amount of people that I'm seeing go flying off the edge. I'm like, what are we doing? Like this isn't Mario Kart. I don't know what type of game this is, but it ain't Mario Kart. So it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of turns. I think the atmosphere is kind of cool, but like it's also kind of generic. I don't think it's anything special.
Considered one of the best cups
it's
in
okay.
All of Mario Kart. And yeah, I guess it's up there for me too, but it's kind of brought down a bit by Dolphin Shoals. A solid enough course that isn't anything all that crazy. The opening part with the rings is pretty average, and the part where you boost off of pipes to get to the other side of this chasm is kind of cool. The real standouts are tricking off of this giant eel, which never gets old, and of course, that moment you emerge from the water and the music abruptly changes to a killer saxophone solo. Probably one of the best dynamic music moments Mario Kart has ever had. I love it as much as anyone else, but I feel like everyone kind of fixates on that moment and ranks this course higher than it deserves because of it. I think this course is solid enough, but it's mainly being carried by that musical bit and the eel for me. As a result, I don't think the Star Cup is quite the best course in the game for me. I'm a bit partial to the Lightning and Feather Cups, which we'll get to later.
Ooh. I like Dolphin Shoals. I think it could probably be a tad bit higher, but not one that I'm going to nitpick as much. Looks really nice. Like the different, you know, elements that they got in there. It's a fun track.
This time, I've been underneath Paris.
Paris Promenade was our first impression of the Booster Course Pass. And like, I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was a pretty good one. Better than Toad Circuit would have been, that's for sure. It doesn't really have the same ambition as the other tour layouts.
Don't say that about Toad
it's
Circuit.
Just two identical laps, and then laps
Shout out
the same
Toad
thing,
Circuit.
It feels like they didn't fully know how to adapt the tour courses into Mario Kart 8 yet. And this was them experimenting a bit. But I don't mind the relative simplicity here, especially since I think it's a decent layout. They even have one of the alternate routes available as an optional shortcut path. That's pretty cool. Plus, it definitely looks and feels like Paris. The music is one of the most fitting to its real-life city, and despite the rough graphics, I think they capture Paris pretty well visually. It's a neat course. Not amazing or anything, but hey, neither is France, so it fits.
Did he just roast France? What did he just... I don't know what he just said. I think he just roasted France or something. Apologize to France. I pretty much agree with everything he said. Pretty solid tour track.
Mario Kart Stadium. Most generic title in the series aside, this is a pretty good starter course. From the jumbotrons and exciting
Agreed.
atmosphere, to the many shortcuts through the sand and the grass, to the super cool visual of the world around you tilting as you progress through the anti-gravity segment. It's an incredibly cool way to introduce you to Mario Kart 8's main mechanic, and it's a hell of a lot more interesting than just starting the game off with a generic circuit. But with that said, the time has finally come to reveal the finalized ranking of every starter course in Mario Kart. Finally! The moment you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. Number 8, Figure 8 Circuit.
Wait, are we doing this right now?
It's like not a contest at all. This course has nothing, and it is nothing.
Oh, gosh.
Now, Patrick did gaslight me into loving this course, ironically, and as a result, it holds a special place in my heart. But I have an easy way of reconciling how my heart and my
I
brain
like
feel
this
about
course.
See, Nintendo didn't fulfill Patrick's dream of seeing Figure 8 Circuit in Mario Kart 8, but I know he would be happy to see that I have it ranked at 8th place. Not last, 8th. It's the spot it deserves. Number 7,
I see what he did there. But it's last. You ranked it last.
Mario Circuit 1.
So.
Maybe the best first course in Super Mario Kart, if that's any consolation. Number 6, Wii Luigi Circuit. It has boost pads. Oh shit, slow down. Let's not get too crazy now. Number 5, Peach Circuit. Peach cheese.
But no, the Figure 8 course, that's a solid track.
Yippee. Number 4, Toad Circuit.
Let's
No,
go,
not
Toad Circuit.
This is just
Let's
Toad Circuit, and it's fine.
go.
It has a glider and pipe shortcuts and toad balloons,
Toad
so,
Circuit,
yeah.
baby.
Number 3, Luigi Raceway. Pretty good course for 64's mechanics, and there is literally nothing else to say. Number 2, Mario Kart Stadium. The new kid on the block puts so many of the other starter courses to shame by actually being fun and exciting. How
is
crazy
this what
is
I?
that?
Is this
And
what?
Number 1, game.
My mind is blown. Shout out to Schaffrillas for putting GameCube Luigi Circuit number 1. But I'm very confused by this because he had Luigi Circuit ranked incredibly low in his GameCube or in his Double Dash ranking video. I think he had it at like 14 or something, or like, you know, third to last or something like that. Little surprised to see to see him put it at number 1. Absolutely love Double Dash's Luigi Circuit. Probably the one that I'd put at the top 2. Sorry, you're just not gonna get my analysis on the exact order of all these 8. I'd have to crunch the numbers. I'd want to give you my in-depth analysis, and I just can't do that in a video that is already gonna be way too long. So I apologize. This would definitely be number 1 though. This is a great track. I defended it in that video. That Schaffrillas had it way too low on, but at least he's giving it some love here.
GameCube Luigi Circuit. The untouchable GOAT because it is so damn fun to hit racers going the opposite direction with items. Peak gaming right here. So
I could have swore he was like so much more negative about this track in his Double Dash reaction or in his ranking video. Like, am I wrong? I'm telling you, he was bashing that track, I feel like.
That's my ranking. Thanks for tuning in, I guess.
But maybe it's just because they're all so generic. He's not a big fan of the starter tracks in
How much longer is
general.
left in the actual ranking? Ah, fuck me.
Well, dude, that's how I feel right now. That's what I'm looking at. And I'm seeing I've been recording for an hour 15, and I still have, like,
New York Minute is the only
2
four course based on the
hours
city I've
left. Oh
actually
my
been
God,
to. Over 10 times, in fact. I watch a lot of Broadway shows. So, is it accurate? Yeah, I guess. You got the Times Square billboards, you got Central Park, you got the Rockefeller Center parking garage.
end,
The music is
dude.
very New Yorkish. They
It
definitely
doesn't
nailed the feel of
end.
the city. But I don't know. This was the first track they ever made for Mario Kart Tour, and it shows. It's relatively unambitious compared to what you could have done. Throw in the Statue of Liberty or the Brooklyn Bridge. Have us go to Grand Central Station. Or, hear me out, you drive through a Broadway theater, huh? I can dream. At least they have billboards for Broadway shows, including this cute reference to King Kong the musical. Genuinely, this is the most cultural impact that musical has had. So yeah, solid enough course with cool atmosphere. But compared to the later tour courses, it's a bit lacking. You know, we should probably get an authentic New Yorker in here to give their take on how this course is. Ah, perfect. My editor, Goop Videos.
Hi, everybody. I'm New York Scoop Videos. I live in Connecticut. Thank you. I just want to draw attention to the fact that all the locations shown on this track are in Midtown Manhattan. If Nintendo had wanted to incorporate downtown locations like the Statue of Liberty and the Brooklyn Bridge, I think they should have designed the course like Mount Wario or Big Blue. The race could start in Central Park, making your way through Rockefeller Center and Times Square, then to Grand Central, which could lead into a subway taking the race downtown to the Brooklyn Bridge. Then the race would cap off by hang gliding to the finish line on Liberty Island. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's go Mets, let's go Mets, let's go Mets, let's go Mets.
Oh, that was kind of funny. Good pitch by the video editor. Again, this one, it's an okay track. It's fine enough. I think I'd have Vancouver above this one if I'm being honest with you. I just would. But again, this one is a little bit like the LA track where it's like there's so many iconic things from New York and LA, and I feel like they just chose to not incorporate any of them. And so what could be what could be a track that has such iconic visuals just doesn't. And the LA and the New York track just feel kind of generic. So I don't know. We're in B tier though.
Have to stop playing that wonderful music.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one.
Oh.
Ice Outpost. Not a particularly memorable or well-liked course, is it? It's a pretty out-there theme, and not in a cool or creative way like your coconut malls or Waluigi pinballs or what have you. It's like, oh, a polar expedition base, just what I always wanted to race on. It doesn't have a super special layout or anything either. Like, it's not bad, and choosing the green or yellow path can be kinda neat, plus there are a few decent shortcuts for you to take. It's a fine enough course, but just based on its layout and visual theme, it's absolutely nothing special. But, and this is a sentiment I have never seen shared by anyone else, but this course does have one of my favorite things in the entire series, and that is its music. I swear to God, the music on Ice Outpost is unbelievably goated. It is insane how good this song is. I'm normally really bad at picking out specific instruments in songs I listen to, but I know a damn violin when I hear one. And this violin is so elegant, gorgeous, and exciting all at once. When I hear this, I am uplifted to the heavens for a brief moment. It's so amazing. It actually reminds me of this one bit from the score of the Stampede scene in Lion King. And I think it goes without saying that if you're reminding me of the Lion King score, then you made some damn good music. I love playing on this course just to hear its song. But with that said, I really do wish the course itself was more worthy of its S-tier music. It just kind of feels like a waste to use a song this amazing on an Ice Outpost. Oh well, this course gets to rank higher than it deserves because of it, and I get to listen to the song in Smash, since Ultimate didn't have any new Mario Kart songs to add other than the Wii U DLC music. Everybody wins! Please, if you're a fellow Ice Outpost music connoisseur, let me know in the comments. It feels like I'm the only person obsessed with this song. I need to know if there are others out there.
No, look, it's a good song. I don't think I'm, obsessed with it like you, but again, I don't mind the theme of an Ice Outpost. The problem is like where you actually are driving and throughout the track is just incredibly bland, and they didn't add anything to it. Kind of makes it pretty forgettable and not something I ever want to pick. That's probably got to be that track's got to be lower, I think. Like I think I'd put Vancouver above that. Are all my Vancouver fans like, thinking that their track needs to be higher? I don't know.
Yoshi Valley was one of the trickiest to talk about for me. On the one hand, it fixes my biggest issue with the original track. Not only is it a lot easier to
I like this
fall off the
one.
edge, but if you do, Lakitu doesn't take 2 to 3 business days to rescue you and put you back on course. You can also see what place you're in at all times now. It's amazing how far technology has come. Despite all these improvements, however, I feel like this remake is brought down by one simple fact. The bridge path on the left is very clearly the best one to take, to the point where most of the other alternate paths are kinda useless, thus defeating the purpose of the course's gimmick. I don't know if the bridge was the clear best path on the N64, but even if it was, it's not necessarily the one you want to take all the time, since it's a lot trickier to stay on. There's a risk-reward factor there. Here, the course being less frustrating and easier to stay on is also kind of its downfall, since there's nothing really discouraging you from taking the fastest route every time. Yeah, I know this sounds really frustrating, like I can't just be satisfied with this course no matter what it does. But I'm sorry, I think there are some courses that are just destined to not work all that well for me, no matter what. With that said, I still put it in B tier, because aside from the alternate paths feeling kinda pointless, it's solid and I can have a good time on it. The giant egg is still fun, and the music is lovely. I just think it kinda sorta misses the point of its own gimmick here. But at least I can have fun on it now.
So that track is a little off to me too. Like, I really like the idea of it. I just, again, think it's like missing a little something. Yeah, the path you talked about, definitely the best path, which is a little frustrating. But honestly, more so for me is I feel like there's just way less interaction between all the racers on this track. Like, even if you're stuck in the middle of the pack, where normally like you'd have like players behind you, right in front of you, it's like because of all the paths, you just like never see anybody. And I've been in first place before where I don't see one item to come my way, or like there will be one item that comes, like one red shell, and it's like, oh, well, I have 2 items loaded up ready to protect myself. So it's like if you get off to an early lead, like you're probably just gonna cruise to the finish if you're like not making a ton of mistakes or falling off or anything. I just don't think it. I don't know. I just don't think it has enough like interaction.
Maps are a little screwy because of their nature of incorporating all these alternate routes. But like, yeesh, get a load of this one. That's just terrifying. Anyway, Rome Avanti is pretty solid. The best part of this course is how it incorporates the Colosseum.
I like this one.
Climbing up it on the first lap and avoiding chain chomps inside the arena on the third. I like the city's architecture and the general nighttime vibes. Plus, it's pretty cool to zoom past these racers going a completely different direction on previous laps. It's got a few fun.
I love that mechanic. That's Luigi Circuit. Luigi Circuit started that.
You don't actually get to eat pizza here. Damn, guess I'm not updating the tier list. Also, I just realized this isn't in the script. I just realized while recording just now that Cheeseland also has pizza. I actually forgot about that when I was writing this. Sorry, Cheeseland fans. I just find this remake so forgettable. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is a decent mix of Athens' classical architecture and the modern city design seen elsewhere in the track list. Not a great course, but a pretty good one.
Man, I spent hours of my life stomping.
I agree.
Don't do it.
Oh, Koopa Cape, honey, what did they do to you? I don't like this remake. The original is so
gosh.
damn good that this version still ranks fairly high. But for the most part, they neutered so much of what I love about this track. It got hit with the
I have
upgrade,
beef
sure,
with this
but that's
track.
not as depressing as how much worse it feels to play now. Like, they significantly shrank the middle portion down, and it just doesn't feel as satisfying to drive through. That's on top of them, once again, giving us an inferior underwater section to the Wii version. Why does this need to be anti-gravity with a half-pipe? What was so wrong with electric spinning obstacles in a closed glass tube with unique mellow music and gorgeous aesthetics? It's just wrong. Everything here is so much more wrong than any other Wii remake in this game. This feels like a smartphone version of Koopa Cape, which it literally is, but a lot of the other Boosted Course Pass tracks have been really good at hiding that. This one, though, is oversimplified and barely captures the original course's magic. I mean, how does the Wii version look better in every way? That doesn't make sense. With that said, yeah, it's still kind of fun, I guess, because it's still Koopa Cape. It wasn't quite given the Scott Garden treatment, so yippee!
Okay, so you guys know that Koopa Cape was my it's my #1 track on Mario Kart Wii. This version of Koopa Cape needs to be ranked lower. It does. It flat out needs to be ranked lower. They completely destroyed every aspect of this track. Everything that made it Koopa Cape, they destroyed. I would imagine maybe I have it ranked so low is partially due to playing it on Mario Kart Wii. Like, I think if you have a new player that plays Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the first time, never played Mario Kart Wii, they will find this track much more enjoyable than I would. And maybe they would even have it ranked higher than 60 or, you know. But coming from, again, it's like when you have a remade track, it's like it at least needs to be as good as the original, and ideally it needs to be slightly better or at least have a couple new things in it to where it feels like a little bit of a fresh experience, because if it's not at least as good as it was, it's a letdown, especially if it's a super fan favorite track like this one where you have such, you know, fond memories. It's a bad track, man. I just, like, I don't even get excited when people pick this track. Versus, like, I'd be trying to pick this track every single time on
Riverside Park
so
is a pretty
sad.
solid update to a really good course from Super Circuit. I like how instead of adding in generic obstacles like regular piranha plants or chain chomps, they decided to throw in patooies that drop items when you hit them. That's pretty neat. On top of that, it looks good graphically, has
I didn't even
music,
know they did
turns out really
that.
fun, and this last turn now taking place in a cave that leads to you bursting out of a waterfall. That's a pretty neat addition. I really like it. Not the craziest GBA update out there, but a pretty good one.
The shape of a Mobius strip.
Yeah, I don't have too many comments on that one. It's a fun one. I enjoy it.
Where does it rank?
Seems like a
among all
fair
the Mario
ranking.
circuits? Don't know, don't care. I'm not doing a ranking of those. But yeah, this one is good. Basically, the developer saying, what if Figure 8 Circuit was a real course? There's Goomba towers, ramps, shortcut opportunities through these sandy bits, and it makes neat use of anti-gravity, even if you're probably going too fast to even realize you're upside down. It was also a stage in Smash Bros. For some reason. Yeah, what a memorable and incredible stage that was. Unironically, the Smash version of Figure 8 Circuit clears. Anyway, pretty good. One of the only Mario circuits I don't fall asleep on while playing. And you can even slam your head against the finish line while gliding. What's not to love? I'm in love with the shape of Yoshi. Can somebody...
What is... Yo, the editor is going crazy right now. Honestly, I enjoy that one a decent amount. That honestly may be a bit too high of a ranking. I'm surprised he has it ranked that high for the circuits that he normally doesn't like. But
somebody please explain to me why everybody picks GameCube Yoshi
fine.
Circuit whenever it shows up online. Am I missing something? Because it's not so good that everyone needs to drop everything and...
Because it is literally in the shape of Yoshi. Throwback to our ranking.
Choose it instead of much better options. I like this version of it, I really do. But I am so sick of it solely because of how many people pick it in online lobbies. Anyway, how's the course itself? Well, better than the DS version, that's for sure. They really fleshed out this little Yoshi-shaped island with
look at that, it's literally in the shape of Yoshi.
Yoshi tunnel, fruit trees, a waterfall at that one shortcut, and an overall gorgeous, aesthetically pleasing design. But I still kind of like the Double Dash version the best. I mean, the 8 version doesn't even have the Yoshi copter. Come on! Plus,
didn't they take... Yeah.
It's still missing that one cool shortcut, and as good as it looks, there was something about the simple color palette of the Double Dash version that suited this course a lot better in my opinion. I feel like which version of this course you prefer mainly boils down to the aesthetic, since it pretty much always plays the same. And I'm a Double Dash Yoshi Circuit fan, thank you very much. This version's still good. Wouldn't have been my first choice from Double Dash for the original Wii U DLC, but it's a good, very charming interpretation of a classic course. Just please stop picking it online! Oh my god! God, I really hope I didn't offend the Yoshi Circuit community by saying that. Maybe I should let someone say some good stuff about it to atone for my sins. Captain Astronaut time.
Painting, sculpture, cinema, orchestra. All other art forms pale in comparison to video games. And you want to know why? Because in Mario Kart, it's Yoshi Circuit and it's shaped like Yoshi. What else do you need in life? The original is iconic.
It's shaped like Yoshi. Come on.
Enhanced here. You got new hotness with the live super saxophone, and they kept old hotness with the long drift and turns and the classic waterfall shortcuts. But they did cut out the secret tunnel shortcut that only the real OGs remember. And they grounded the Yoshi copter, so instead of a billion out of 10, I can only in good conscience rate it at a million out of 10. Sorry, Yoshi.
Lovely window.
Yeah, GameCube version definitely clears. It's in the shape of Yoshi. That, you know, those are all the comments that we had on it in our Double Dash ranking. That's all I can really say about it for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe version.
Oh, those cookie Dutch.
Okay, no offense if you live there, but I really don't think Amsterdam is a major enough world city to warrant getting a tour track. With that said, it's still better than a lot of other tour tracks, so I guess
Hot take by Schaffrillas?
Unique by city course standards, both in terms of the scenery due to the windmills and flower fields, and the layout since it takes you underwater through these canals. This is probably one of the most justified implementations of underwater driving.
I like this one.
Since, you know, a lot of courses just shove it in there where it doesn't really belong. Here, it feels natural and adds a great flow.
Shade to the mansion.
It's a very feel-good, solid track. Nothing crazy, and it definitely doesn't look as pretty as it wants to, thanks to Tour's plasticky art style. But I never really mind playing on it.
I like that
Piranha
one.
Cove is pretty rad. It's a tour course that's split into 3 unique laps, much like the city tracks. The only difference is that this one is actually unique and cool and doesn't primarily just consist of road. The scenery is really neat. I love the look of these sunken ruins and all the references.
Who else had that mat that he just put in there? Who else had that?
There's unique obstacles like this giant eel, tons of
As a
elevation
kid.
terrain changes. It's just overall a solid new addition. I wish the music was a little more memorable, and it's not one of the best original tour tracks, but it's a significant step up over Merry Mountain and Sky High Sunday at least.
The tide's coming in! Oh!
DS Cheap Cheap Beach is about as
Piranha Plant Cove, honest, probably needs to be higher. Like, it probably needs to be ranked higher, man. Dude, Cheap Cheap Beach. Oh my god, I've had it up to here with Cheap Cheap Beach, man. Fortunate every stream we play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with viewers. Fortunate is picking Cheap Cheap Beach like 10 times, dude. I've had enough Cheap Cheap Beach. You know, I may act like this is the worst track in the game, okay? This may be a fair ranking. You know, that's where I have to put my bias aside. This may be a fair ranking. Maybe slightly lower. But
good as it was
that's the only thing I'm gonna say. Fortunate, I'm not gonna compliment this track anymore. Stop picking it.
Don't really change my overall feelings on this track. It's solid. I'll never really object to playing on it.
Stop picking this 24/7. Fortunate.
It's the textbook example of a good course and not a whole lot more.
Likewise, the road to ruin.
We play that track way too much.
What it is, a fun, endearing, simple mushroom cup course. I guess you could argue that much like Water Park, its theme could have lent itself.
Nobody ever picks this one. Pick this one instead. Fortunate. Come on now.
But while you certainly could have had more dangerous ruins to traverse through, the ones we got are pretty good. I love this section where you have an option between going underwater, driving on the walls, or gliding on this one ramp that only opens up after a stone wheel knocks down a wall. I'm a real sucker for track design that varies in between laps, so that's a cool detail. There's one shortcut right before the last glider ramp that's really badass to pull off, and the number of thwomps populating the course add to the danger as well. It's a fun track. Not an all-time favorite, but one of the better Nitro tracks in the base game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like out of all of our streams, I've only played this track like once on stream. Underrated, man. I think it kind of just gets lost in the shuffle, being in the Mushroom Cup. Solid track, better than Cheap Cheap Beach. Fortunate, so stop picking it.
Guys, we need to talk. You all know that I'm a massive fan of the Legend of Zelda series.
Right?
Oh. It's one of my top 3 favorite gaming franchises of all time. Up there with Pikmin and Persona. I have played and loved so many of these games my entire life. And as a result, I was pretty much guaranteed to be a sucker for a crossover track between this legendary series and Mario Kart. So why am I not? Hyrule Circuit to me is easily the weakest of the big crossover tracks in Mario Kart. It's not bad, I still like it, but I don't love it, not even close. And I'm a little confused as to how it won just about everyone else over. First, the positives. The music track rocks. It's a great rearrangement of the classic Zelda theme. They turned the coins into rubies and added a remix of the classic chest opening theme when the item roulette spins. Those are both amazing additions. And this puzzle section inside the castle where you have to hit all 3 switches in order to activate a secret boost in the center, that's incredible! What a
I didn't even know that was a thing.
perfect way to seamlessly carry over a gameplay mechanic of the Zelda series into Mario Kart gameplay. I like a lot of what this course does to capture the Zelda experience. But, I'm sorry, over half of this level is just a grassy field. I know Zelda has a lot of those, but it isn't even modeled after a specific game's field. And neither is the castle. The puzzle is the only interesting part of the entire track design. It's cute that they remodel Piranha plants and bats to be Deku Babas and Keys, but like, that's the entire hook of the second part of the track. A restand enemy we've seen already on a billion other courses. I just don't get much out of Hyrule Circuit, outside of tiny serotonin boosts when I land the puzzle shortcut or pick up rupees. There was infinite potential for a Zelda-themed racetrack, and I'm not a huge fan of how generic the final product was. But, tons of people are, and that's awesome. More power to you. At the end of the day, I like the rupee sound effect, and that's all that matters. You know what? Screw the item box. I'm just gonna look inside this chest and see who I find in there. it's Swiftjar.
Hyrule Circuit, based on the Legend of Zelda series, is a true treat for Zelda fans. It takes you through Hyrule Castle, where you can collect rupees as coins, and you even get to touch the Master Sword as a shortcut. This track immerses you in the Zelda world, with Deku Barbers and keys to dodge, along with some very familiar sound effects from the Zelda series. There are also numerous hidden Zelda details in the course as well, and if that doesn't immerse you in the Zelda universe, the music definitely will. I just simply love this course.
Look, I'm Woody.
Yeah, I'm with Schaffrillas here. I'm just not a big fan of the track. Now, I'm not like a big fan of the Zelda series. Like, I haven't played too many Zelda games. I wanna start playing some more of them. Really get fully immersed into the great games, because I know they're great games. Hayden's always telling me about them. I'm not a big fan of the track. I just don't think it's very exciting to race on. Again, I'd probably like it more if I had played a lot more Zelda. But like, again, I think if you're a Zelda fan, yeah, it's really cool that you have a track. That there's a Zelda track in this game, but I think we have to like still evaluate the track on its merits, and I just don't think it's a very exciting to actually race on. So that's it.
Wild Woods is a very pretty and charming track.
This is a great track. I really like this one.
Or the fucking Ewok Village from Return of the Jedi, that too. There's good gameplay variety between the bridges.
I really like this track. This needs to be higher.
Was this too much to ask for, Water Park? It's a good course. Not an absolute favorite for me, like it seems.
This needs to be ranked
I feel
higher.
like it's over really quickly for me, and there's not a ton that stands out about it gameplay-wise. But it's always just a good time, and I'm never unhappy playing on it. Seriously.
See, I think it's just long enough, because I think it's like you don't need to have all the tracks be just super long. Like, I think this one spends just enough time in it where it's like every time I cross the finish line on lap 3, I'm like left wanting a little bit more. I'm like, oh, like, I wish that wasn't the end. But that's good, because then it's like I want to play the track again. But it's like if it was a little bit longer, then I would I'd maybe be like, oh, it's a little bit of a drag now. So I don't know. I think this is a really underrated track.
Though, there are a ton of people who have this as one of their favorite courses, so I'd very much love to feature someone who has that opinion. Ooh, we got one. It's Silacawk.
It was easy to overlook Wildwood when it was introduced in the same DLC as Big Blue, but I think it's about time to pay its dues, because between the phenomenal presentation and impressive layout variety that comprises a glider segment, fun turns, multiple jumps and routes, plus this kick-ass part where you speed down the stream of water instead of log, Wildwoods does something all great courses do, and that's somehow create a fully realized and self-contained world within a single racetrack. Also, you start the race on the side of a giant oak tree, so like, come on.
And there comes a giant fish!
The Mario Kart 8 version of Bowser's Castle is pretty good, but man, does it not really stick in my mind whenever I'm not playing it. I usually have a ton of fun on it, but no real desire to pick it compared to other courses. It's got cool obstacles like fire bars and a spike ball, but then it's like, oh, okay, we're doing the giant mechanical Bowser thing again, huh? This is like the third console Mario Kart in a row to do that. And the implementation here is unique, since you have to pick which road he's not about to punch. But like, at this point, this really isn't much of a hook anymore. This course is better than the 7 version. I mean, it was hard to get worse than that. But this lacks the novelty of the giant mechanical Bowser on GameCube and Wii, nor does it have the uniqueness of the N64 and DS versions. It's still pretty good. All the 3D Bowser's Castles are pretty good, except 7's. And yet, with such steep competition, this is easily one of the more forgettable ones. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it either.
Yeah, I kind of forget about this one. Again, it's you're playing a Bowser Castle track. It's going to be solid, but it is kind of forgettable. Nothing special, nothing new that they implemented, but it's an overall solid track.
3 item boxes in a row? Where were you guys earlier when I was talking about Bone Dry Dunes? Never mind, stupid question. It's Yinsid. He's another friend and editor who doesn't talk gaming a lot, but man was he down to talk some Bowser's Castle.
Peaches. Oh, hi. So Mario Kart 8's version of Bowser's Castle would have to be my personal favorite iteration of the track. In my opinion, it's comparatively easier to come back from falling off edges in the game, so a lot of the obstacles like the falling boulders and giant Bowser allow for a welcome skill-based challenge. They all naturally fit with the atmosphere and add to the stunning design of the castle's interior. And the music is the cherry on top. Like, I have no doubt this is the kind of stuff that Bowser would listen to.
Or maybe it would be blues according to the Mario movie, but that's not important.
Wait, what's going on? Whoa!
Good points.
SNES Rainbow Road, a course that actually
Solid
deserves
points.
to be in 5 Mario Kart games. Unlike some tracks I know, this version always stuck out to me as one of the prettiest looking courses in the base game. I adore the road itself and the reflections on the mountains in the background. The layout and plethora of ramps are satisfying, but the real star of the show here is the shockwaves you can trick off of, courtesy of the Thwomps. These shockwaves are so much more satisfying than the ones in Mario Kart 7's version. They really make this 30-year-old course feel so much more dynamic and exciting. All in all, a really good Rainbow Road and the second worst in the game. Imagine that.
Yeah, this one, I think they did this remake about as good as they could have. Again, this is what, I think, again, it's a pretty flawless remake. I think they did it well, added some new things, just enough to where it kind of changes things up, makes it feel fresh. Comes out to be a pretty solid track.
Excitebike Arena is the developers realizing, oh yeah, F-Zero isn't the only other racing franchise we own. Let's plop in a tribute to that one NES game where you just go over a bunch of ramps the whole time. This is a fairly divisive course, since a lot of people prefer when Mario Kart tracks have good turns and aren't just, you know, fucking ovals. But to me, it's all in the execution, and I always have a blast performing trick after trick. Like, it really is exhilarating. It's especially amazing on 200cc with how far you fly, but we're not factoring that into the ranking. Even so, it's a simple but pretty fun one. The layouts are even randomly generated each race to keep things fresh, which is pretty cool. Nothing too crazy, but I like it a lot. How many of you...
I had no idea that the ramps were like, you know, different every time. But no, this is a fun track. It's really grown on me over the last, you know, times that I've played the game. Again, I can understand if you're not a fan of the baby parks, of the Excitebikes. But you have to realize that there are only a couple courses like that in all of Mario Kart, and especially in the game of 96 tracks. Like, I don't really think, you know, there's a leg to stand on to have that as a complaint when there are 96 tracks in the game. So especially when there's that many tracks in the game, for me, I like when there is, you know, tracks that have a little bit of a different feel. And so that's what this one does for me. And so I don't care that it doesn't have some crazy turns and it's just a lot of long straightaways. It feels completely different. I love constantly doing the tricks. It's a good time.
You are furious that I didn't rank this one dead last. Be honest. I am very much a spreader of the Excitebike Arena agenda. And so is Macro.
I'm going to talk about Excitebike because Excitebike is literally the greatest map of all time. I don't care where Schaffrillas places this on the tier list because it's S tier. And the only reason why is because of this bad boy right here. Look, he's not usually my main in Mario Kart, but at Excitebike, he dabs. He just dabs like crazy, dude. All he does is, He was dabbing before it was cool. He was dabbing before it was lame. I love Excitebike. I love Donkey Kong. Thank you for letting me be in this video.
All right.
Wait, dude. Dude, Pizza Hut is getting me going right there. Right as I'm trying to talk about it. Is that the only map that DK dabs on? Like, I have no I had no idea.
There are 5 types of battling to pick from. The most any game in the series is.
Oh, we're on battle mode? Here we go. Dude, look at these great tracks right here. We got battle mode, baby.
These are a mostly pretty solid selection. It's a little tricky to rank the maps.
Very disappointed that they did not add a battle map or two every single wave. Very disappointed. So many great battle courses over the span of Mario Kart games. Definitely should have brought them in.
Some of them are better or worse for certain battle modes than others, but I generally took the average of how I felt about each map across each mode to get my ranking. Oh, and here's a ranking for the modes themselves, I guess. Number 5 is Coin Runners. It's kind of boring, but at least it's better than the 7 version, since you can have more than 10 coins. 4 is Balloon Battle. Not the best iteration, since it really could have used elimination, like the N64 version. 3 is Bomb Blast. Literally just Balloon Battle, but more fun, since chucking bombs at people is a blast. Get it? Like the title of the mode. Do you get it? 2, Renegade Roundup. It's robbers, and it's pretty hectic and fun. I much prefer being the robbers, but gobbling people up with piranha plants is fun too. And number 1, Shine Thief. Nothing compares to the sheer chaos of trying to hold on to the shine sprite, as everyone on the map tries to hunt you down like you're John Wick or something. If you've never played this mode, you need to give it a try. But on which maps, you may ask? Well, here's my ranking.
I do enjoy all the battle modes, I will say, but dude, Renegade Roundup is a nice addition.
Is Lunar Colony.
I will
Honestly,
say.
The only map I don't really like, and my least favorite across every mode. These craters can be really annoying obstacles when you're trying to hit people with items, and the layout itself is kind of cramped and not that cohesive. Number 7, Battle Stadium. This one's okay, but the entire anti-gravity middle section is kind of useless, and I never really go in there. It's just way too big for my taste overall. Number 6, GameCube Luigi's Mansion. Already we're getting...
I think I kind of agree. Like, I don't think any of them are bad. Like, I liked Lunar Colony in Mario Stadium. But yeah, I never really go in the middle. They both are just too big, and I get lost, and it's just...
some really good maps. This one is also a little too big for my taste, but it has a lot of variety and can be pretty fun, especially in Shine Thief with all the twisted corridors, and Bomb Blast, where you can just snipe people from the roof. I'm glad this one came back, even though they probably just reused a lot of the assets from Twisted Mansion. Still, it's better than Twisted Mansion, so that's cool. Also, does this map remind anyone else of Boston Building, or is it just me? Number 5, Sweet Sweet Kingdom. Speaking of being better than the race course it's based on,
I love
Sweet
Luigi's
Kingdom is better than the
Mansion.
race course it's based on. It's more visually distinct.
I will say, it does feel bigger. You'd think with like 12 players in the game, where it's like, I feel like, why does that map feel bigger with 12 players than if I'm playing like 4 players on GameCube? That's strange.
And tasty looking. Plus, it's a tightly packed arena with a lot of
I gotta
obstacles to hide
ponder
behind
that.
and some layers to use in order to get people off your tail. Number 4, Urchin Underpass. It's the Splatoon battle.
I love the
Nintendo refuses
Splatoon
to
one.
actually bring back in the Splatoon series. Hey, it's on the Switch already, so we don't need to put it in Splatoon 2 or 3. Can't argue with that, I guess. It's not the easiest to maneuver through, which holds it back a bit, but it's still a pretty fun one that I enjoy in just about any mode. Plus, it has unique coins and sound effects reminiscent of Splatoon. Neat. Number 3, Dragon Palace. I'm telling you, they just made it a habit of picking the most mid race courses and making banger battle maps out of them. This course is really something special. From the windows you can smash out of to the fact that everyone starts outside in Shine Thief while the shine sprite sprite is inside, making for a memorable and fun mad dash, to the fact that there are 3 jail cells in Renegade Roundup, with the top floor being pretty difficult to get to. It's just a very memorable course in every mode you play it on, and I'd be very happy to see it come back in a future Mario Kart game. Number 2, Woohoo Town. I love Woohoo Island so much, and I'm so glad it at least got represented in this game through the battle map. It looks so glorious in HD, and the sheer abundance of routes to this town suit basically every mode to a T. My friends and I invented a special game on the newly opened up basketball court, where 2 of us grab a feather, drive to opposite sides of the court, and basically have a jousting match where we both try and use our feather to steal each other's balloons. It's really fun. I would highly recommend it. And number 1 is SNES Battle Course 1.
I think I agree with this top 3. To me, those are pretty great. I normally just go to the basketball court and I'm like, meet me at the basketball court. You know, whether it's balloon battle or whatever. Like I'm down to 1v1 somebody.
I never in a million years would have expected that going into this game. But somehow, a Super Nintendo remake is the clear victor in every respect.
Wow.
This map is the perfect size, with the perfect amount of alternate pathways. Plus, you can use the feather to great effect here and jump over these walls. In Shine Thief, you can drive on the walls themselves, which is a great tactic. In Renegade Roundup, there's only 1 jail cell in the very center. This is the only map to do that, and it makes for such a unique gameplay experience with completely different strategies to the other maps. But my personal favorite thing about this one is the glider ramp. It's the only battle course to have one, and playing this mode in Bob-omb Blast, where you can gather 10 bombs, head over to the glider ramp, and then drop them all on unsuspecting players you fly over, is my absolute favorite experience in this entire battle mode. Again, it's so shocking how good this course is at basically everything. But yeah, SNES Battle Course 1 is my favorite map in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, you know, he brought up a lot of great points that I hadn't thought about. I haven't played enough battle mode to, like, even know about a lot of those strategies that he brought up. Like, we just discovered in the last stream that you could, like, go up on the railings there. But like I knew that like the feather works so well. I think the feather is like so useless on like every other map and like for most modes. Love it here. This one works really well. This one works really well. And one random thing, I don't know if anybody else experiences this, and maybe it's just because I haven't played a lot of battle mode. I feel like it's hard to see on a lot of these maps. Like it's just hard to see what's happening. Especially if you got like you're playing the Piranha mode where you got that, you know, the big piranha sticking out, or you have all those balloons over your head. I feel like it's just hard to see. It's all cluttered, but this one, like it's bright. You got low walls. Like I don't know, for this one it just works for me.
Well, that's the entire battle mode in this game talked about. What? Oh, you want me to talk about the original battle mode? Yeah, so if you don't know, back when this game first launched on Wii U, they straight up didn't finish the battle mode. Instead of creating actual battle maps for us to play on, they just repurposed some regular-ass race courses for this mode. What? Excuse me? I think I played 1 or 2 matches of these back in the day.
What the heck is this?
Because the experience of playing on these is about as awful as you'd expect.
What the heck is this?
Battling in the slightest, and it's miserable trying to get a decent battle going. At least they brought back elimination for balloon battle, even though if a player character dies, they can still hurt people as a ghost. So what was the point of them getting eliminated then? At least the bomb car you turn into in 64 was a once and done thing, as well as a very unique element to the mode. Here, I don't know, man, shit just straight up sucks. This is the worst battle mode the series has ever had.
What the heck is this?
Super Mario Kart in terms of its awfulness. But surely you don't actually expect me to rank these 8 race courses in terms of how they function as battle maps, right? Number 1, Yoshi Valley. That's right, we're going in reverse order. This is the only one that mildly resembles a real battle map because of all its alternate paths. With that said, they couldn't even close off the section where all the paths converge and just use the split path part. Really? Whatever. At least this is the only one they actually made alterations to, making it possible to go backwards on what used to be small ramps in the original race course version. It still sucks,
What
but
is
it's
happening?
like 25% playable. The best map this mode has to offer by far. I'd put it in D tier.
All right,
that said, everything else in this game is an F tier battle map. This will be fun. Number 2, Sherbet Land. There are some places you can duke it out on this version. You can hide underwater and pop out to ambush people. You can just take the glider again and again and hope you hit someone as you fly by. It still sucks a lot, but I hated it less.
All right, yeah, I don't have any comments about this. I haven't played this. This looks ridiculous. This is a terrible idea. Why'd they put this in the game?
Especially work is this is elimination based. Eventually, you're gonna have to chase after them. And at that point, why aren't you just playing?
If you guys just want to hear Schafrillas rant about all these F tier maps, you can.
To the truth. You just drive through the track normally and hope somebody passes you in the opposite direction. Just figure Toad's turn.
Oh my gosh, he's going in on Toad's Turnpike again.
Anything that compares to Toad's truck is in your goddamn way. The obstacle on the course not with. It is the absolute worst.
What is happening?
The sorriest excuse for a battle map ever.
What is happening?
I don't even know if F tier accurately captures my feelings.
Oh my god.
This shit belongs in G tier. Congratulations, Toad's Turnpike.
So
oh my,
easy
okay.
online website builder that enables you to create beautiful website service products.
I
business showing off your limit list. First purchase.
That was too much, dude.
Second, this is a damn fun course. Dodging shipping crates.
I feel like I need to regroup after that, dude. I should have just kept fast forwarding. I shouldn't have given him any time to play that, because I tuned in at the wrong moment with Toad's Turnpike, man. That was brutal.
Plane tires, going through
Oh my
a plane,
gosh.
seeing a plane take off. Basically, this is Calamari Desert for people whose trains are planes. It's a really neat and creative theme, though it's not the most interesting layout, and I also kind of wish we didn't spend so little time inside the actual airport. Like, airports are really cool. You can go through little security gates, pass by different terminals where you see little toads waiting to board. You guys ever been to O'Hare in Chicago? They have this sick-ass moving walkway that helps you get from one terminal to another quickly. It's like an escalator, but completely flat, and it's awesome. It even has cool lights and everything. That's the sort of thing this course could have used, I don't know. I just didn't get enough airport in this airport-themed course. Like, this theme could have easily lent itself to a 3-section course rather than 3 laps. As is, though, it's pretty good. I like it a lot. It even has random intercom voice lines I've never heard during normal gameplay.
This is the final boarding call for Boomerang Bros International Airlines, Flight 117A to Sweet Sweet Canyon, departing from Gate 3.
They really went all out with this one.
Yeah, so I like this course. I hadn't really thought about it before, but I think he's totally right that it should have been a 3-part course instead of 3 laps, because I don't really have a complaint about the entire course, but it's like by the time I get to lap 3, I'm like, I don't really need to be driving, you know, like under the plane again, and like, you know, taking the turn and like going to the landing area. Like, it's kind of, you know, dull by lap 3. So yeah, definitely could have added some more cool airport elements and just made each part of the track unique. Oh my goodness, we got Bangkok. We got Bangkok. Now, guys, if you watch the Mario Kart streams on the channel, you know that we go crazy for Bangkok Rush. Bangkok Rush is S tier, and I hate to say it. Look, this is a course, and you like, my bias. I don't have any bias about this, guys. You go watch the live streams. I don't think I've placed higher than like 6th place on Bangkok Rush. We've played it so many times. I suck at it every single time. But Bangkok Rush, top tier. It's so good. And if you don't think it's S tier, just watch the live streams. And once you get to experience Bangkok Rush on stream, you will put it higher in your rankings. That's all I have to say about it.
In my opinion, it offers alternate elevated paths on the 1st and 3rd laps, a cool section where you glide past the pointy building that I definitely know the name of, this turn right before the 3rd lap that you're able to cut even without a mushroom. Is that like a mistake or something? Because usually these shortcuts you need a mushroom for, but I guess this one is fine without one. Okay. Also, I don't know why this is the city they decided to put a parking garage in. Like, yes, that's exactly what I think of when I picture Bangkok. But it makes for a satisfying drift and culminates with these marketplace stalls you get out of. Great stuff. I think this is a pretty unique and fun city track. It still has a couple of boring roads where not much happens, but there's enough variety to offset that.
Oh my.
Get this out of the way right off the bat. Yes, they removed the Peach's Castle Easter egg in Royal Raceway. You can't drive up to it anymore. Is this the biggest tragedy of our time? Yeah, probably, but at least the course is still really good without it. I find it fascinating that such a relatively simple course layout and theme is more or less unanimously agreed to be pretty good, and I can't really argue with that. It's just a good time. You can hold drifts for an insanely long time, which is really satisfying. Gliding past the hot air balloons and hearing the ringing bells is really fun, and the last few turns are solid as well. It's a basic but pretty fun course. Though maybe it could have been A tier if you could still go near the castle.
Yeah, that one's too high for me. I mean, I enjoy it enough, but I'm curious why he has this one so much higher than so many of the other basic tracks. Like, so many of the, like, other circuits are just, like, you know, generic tracks. I don't think this one's that much better than those. So I'm curious why it's like 20 to 30 spots higher than some of them. I don't know, it's interesting.
Madrid Drive has what a lot of the other tour cities are sorely lacking: variety. So many unique locations, from this art museum with piranha plants that pop out of paintings, to a big Wiggler perfect for driving by on Wiggler Wednesday, to a soccer stadium that far outshines
Wiggler
the other
Wednesday.
Since the soccer balls here are obstacles, and they're being kicked by the shoe Goombas. That's a cool detail. This course never dwells on any one gimmick, and it gives you a lot to work with theme-wise. Almost like you're on an actual tour of Madrid. Oh, that's why it's called Mario Kart Tour. Wow! All of this is really accentuated by the music. The Spanish guitar suits the setting so perfectly, and it sounds fantastic. Parts of the track are just road, sure, but other parts are a hell of a lot more interesting than most of the other European track offerings. I like this one. It's pretty neat.
Alright, everyone, chill.
You know, I had my issues with Moo Moo Meadows and Grumble Volcano being the only Wii courses in the original Wii U version of Mario Kart 8, but while there were better picks they could have gone with, at least those two are fun courses in their own right. And, you know, there could have been worse picks from Wii. Now with Double Dash, on the other hand, the only two retro courses we got originally were Dry Dry Desert and Sherbet Land, the two worst courses from that game.
Hold on now, Schaffrillas. I will defend Sherbet Land. I will defend Sherbet Land, okay?
You kidding me? Are you out of your mind? They could have brought back Wario Coliseum, Mushroom City, Bowser's Castle, or Rainbow Road.
You barely liked Wario Coliseum. What are you talking about?
The two courses I hate the most from that game. Nothing has changed in terms of my disdain for Dry Desert, and I don't expect anything to be different for Sherbet Land. Huh. I guess this version is a lot less slippery to drive on, so that's pretty nice. Oh, and the freezies don't encase with a block of ice anymore. That's very convenient, actually. You know, the atmosphere is rather lovely in this version compared to the original. Wait, they added optional underwater paths? That's not necessary at all, but they're kind of cool. Hold on, is that a hidden glider ramp? That's awesome. I'll definitely keep that in mind next time I play this course. Wait, next time? I actually want to play this course again? But it's Sherbet Land. It was so awful in Double Dash, but now it's good? Like, they added so many cool elements and took out everything that made it annoying? It's not a top tier course or anything, but wow, they actually did it. They made me like playing on Sherbet Land. This game is a miracle worker. Like, how did they manage that? I guess it's the price to pay for how much I hate Toad's Turnpike now. A soul for a soul.
You know, I'm glad he's come around on it, but, you know, I will defend Double Dash, Sherbet Land. I used to be in the same boat as him, where it's, like, one of the worst in the game. I've come around, okay? And if you want my explanation of that, you can go check out our own Double Dash ranking. You can go check out my reaction to his Double Dash ranking. It's all there.
As a Mario Kart Wii child, I was pretty disappointed when I got my hands on the base Wii U version of this game, and realized that not only were there only 2 remakes of Wii courses, but one of them was Moo Moo Meadows. Are you kidding me? What a waste! There are so many bangers that didn't make it in initially, like DK Summit, Wario's Gold Mine, Moonview Highway, Toad's Factory, and instead, I'm stuck with Moo Moo Meadows? Then I actually played it and really enjoyed myself, so that kind of shut me up. It also helps that 8 did eventually get all those courses I listed. Well, all except one. Can you guess which one it was? Okay, but Moo Moo Meadows though. This version is awesome. It's graphically gorgeous now, with an amazing sunrise skybox, one of the most improved music tracks compared to its original, a glider ramp, trick opportunities off the mole paths, and it's still got cows. They didn't forget the cows. That's important. Yeah, this is excellent. A really fun remake of a relatively unexciting original course, making for my favorite opener in Shell Cup history.
Again, I'm glad that he's come around on it. He was hating on this track.
The thumbnail for this course is. Look at that cow. Beautiful. Anyway, here's Shintos.
When Mario isn't risking his life running from bullet bills, lava traps, spikes, and terrifying enemies named Spike, he's at Moo Moo Meadows, where the only thing he'll be running from is his taxes. This track is the epitome of less is more. You don't ever need to stop and say, where the hell do I go? All you have to do is enjoy the fantastic tunes, touch some damn grass, and let the cows guide you. S tier. I don't even know if I'm allowed to rank it that high.
I gotta get back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS.
Yes, I'm someone who likes the Animal Crossing track better than Hyrule Circuit. Yes, we exist. I'll fully admit that Animal Crossing is probably one of the least exciting Nintendo franchises to turn into a racetrack, and yet, in spite of there definitely being better options, this one really works. It's nice to see villagers cheering you on from the sidelines. The item boxes showing up as balloon presents was a brilliant idea. There are money rocks, bells in place of coins, unique music after you finish the race, and even Raceway is here as an obstacle on the track. Remember when he was important to Animal Crossing games? Ah, good times. It's a lovely course, and that's before we even get into the 4 seasonal variants of it, each with their own small changes and unique attributes. Like, that's an amazing detail. Oh yeah, I guess I better rank all the variants of this course, huh? Number 4, Autumn. Fall. My favorite season gets the weakest version, mainly because the music is just way too mellow for a race. Plus, the leaf piles don't have items in them like Maple Treeways piles, so like, what's the point? Still, it looks beyond gorgeous, especially with that skybox. Number 3, Winter. Probably the most gorgeous looking of them all, with unique snowman obstacles, only being held back by, again, too mellow of a music choice. It fits the lovely atmosphere, but spring and summer just have a much more suitable song for racing. Number 2, Summer. It's the default with nothing unique about it compared to the others, but again, high energy music. Number 1, Spring. Got that exciting music, plus some extra ramps to trick off of, and cherry blossom trees. Just beautiful. Overall, a great track, no matter which version you're playing. I dig it a ton. According to the schedule, there was
I really like the Animal Crossing track. And again, it's a track where, you know, it adds a little bit of excitement when you go to play it because you don't know which season you're going to get, right? Which changes the track. And I think that's a nice little touch. Makes for a little bit of a different experience every single time.
Supposed to be an item box right about now. Ooh, look at that! Someone's visiting the island. It's Miss Fushi.
My favorite course is Animal Crossing, a beautiful seasonal race through one of my most beloved series. When you select it, you randomly get a new time of year with special decor and effects. There's fruit that act as mushrooms to give you speed, and Rossetti, who takes the role of a Monty Mole. My favorite part is the scenery, though. The giant villager models and their homes make me wish I could slow down time and go on a walking tour instead of drive.
I remember when they first invented chocolate.
Alright, so I never really got this. Why does the course that's supposed to be made of chocolate look like just regular dirt? But then Waluigi Stadium, which is supposed to be made out of dirt, looks like it's made of chocolate. I hope someone got fired for that blunder. Besides the fact that it suffers from
wow,
Schaffrillas.
Really that's not nice.
The cave and glider sections are unnecessary, but cute ways to vary the track design. There's now no risk of falling behind to an earlier part of the track at all. The hills at the end are fun to trick off of, and wow, do I love this remix. One of the best updates to one of the best Mario Kart songs. Overall, a solid upgrade for a course I already really like, but man, I don't know, it just doesn't look as edible as the old versions. This is the driest looking chocolate I've ever seen, which I guess makes sense as the original course was made in 1996. I can't expect the chocolate to stay fresh after all those years. But like, again, I shouldn't want to eat the dirt bike course more than the actual chocolate, you know?
I really don't have anything to say about that one. I feel like I've played that track like twice. Nobody picks it. Like, I just don't remember racing on that track.
Much like DS Mario Circuit, Shroom Ridge was a DS course picked for the
I
Booster
don't know
Course
what to
Pass,
tell
not
ya.
necessarily because it's a fan favorite, but because it's never come back, so let's give it a chance here. Well, the good news is, I already really like Shroom Ridge, and it's the same here. It's a bit on the ugly Wave 1 untextured grass side, and I guess they just forgot the original had cars going opposite directions on the two sides of the road. But otherwise, it's a great remake. The item boxes are really fun to collect because of the way they move on the course. There's an extra glider ramp and fan shortcut, and you can enjoy all this while listening to one of the most improved remixes in Mario Kart history. This absolute banger of a music track was always there. It just needed stronger instruments and the lack of DS audio compression, and bada boom, something I can listen to for hours. Overall, I love the new Shroom Ridge. Could be better, but still undeniably charming and cozy.
That might be too high, but you know, Schaffrillas
DS Mario
convinced me,
Stadium is one
man.
of those remakes that's different from its original version, but not in a way
I
that's
don't know, he
necessarily
convinced
better
me.
or
This
worse.
is a great
I mean,
track.
The overall plan color scheme is gone. That's worse.
You know, he was way too low on the original version of this track. This is a great track. This might need to be
I
ranked
still don't know
higher.
why they added underwater to this one part. Like, at this
Why
point,
not?
it's starting to piss me off whenever I see completely unnecessary underwater additions.
Why
to original
not?
tracks. But they added a cool anti-gravity platform that really spices things
I
up.
like it.
On top
I
of
think
a
it
glider
fits on
segment that
this
allows you to
one.
bonk your head on the finish line sign, and the return of a lot of boosts and ramps you love from the original. It's a pretty solid new version that's a cool update in a lot of ways, but the original certainly has its charm that isn't fully replicated. Overall, I like both versions about the same. I also find it funny that they brought this Wario Stadium back and skipped the N64 version entirely. Rest in hell.
Well, happy Australia Day to me.
Alright, yeah, I'll fully admit, Sydney Sprints is this high just because of the music. Like, this is one of my
Yeah,
top
Bangkok's
5
better
favorite
than this,
songs in
baby.
all of Mario Kart.
Give me
I listen to
Bangkok
it
Rush.
all the time. It's amazing. It doesn't even really sound
Give me
Australian to
Bangkok
though
Rush
I
10
don't
times out of
exactly
10
know
over
what Australian
Sydney
music sounds
Sprint.
like anyway, but whatever, this is an absolute jam. And unlike Ice Ice Outpost, which is really carried by its music, the good news is that Sydney Sprint is a pretty strong course in its own right. It's very vibrant.
This
looking
is a
with
fun
carnival-like
one, though.
surroundings. Plus, I like these turns, big metal ramps, and driving through the Opera House multiple times is pretty fun. This is easily one of my favorite city courses in the whole game. It probably should have been a high B tier, but like, holy shit, are you hearing this music? Nah, this spot is justified. Babies! Good news, baby park enjoyers. This course finally doesn't suck.
This has to be higher. You guys know I am a big advocate for Baby Park. 37 rank? That's way too low. Baby Park, it's gotta be higher. It works in this game. It's not the knockoff DS version anymore. This works. This is a phenomenal track. Put it so much higher, Schaffrillas. Come on.
Suck again. Hallelujah. But does this mean we're back to peak Baby Park? Or Baby Peak, if you will?
I'm gonna say no.
First, the positives. It's 7 laps yet again, thank God. Plus, it was a really smart decision to make this anti-gravity, since you're going to be bumping up against other racers anyway. Now you're incentivized to do so, since you'll get a boost. With 12 players in close proximity, the item chaos is certainly back. It's still a fun, hectic time like no other in the game. But the original version is still better in my opinion. Those huge character items like the Bowser Shell and Big Banana are just irreplaceable. Plus, they could go over the barrier to the other side of the track, something items in this version can't do. Ultimately, this is a pretty good interpretation of Baby Park, and I always have fun on it, but it won't really replace what we lost. Holy shit, is it infinitely better than the DS version though. Alright, who wants the prestigious honor of talking about the esteemed and iconic course for babies? Looks like it's time to hear from...
Look, I mean, I agree. It's not as good as the original. Like, having those, massive items like are a big deal, but man, does this track work. And I find myself picking it so many times when I'm playing with a big group on stream. It's just pure chaos, and I love that. I just love the chaos that Baby Park brings, and it's like I don't even know if I'm gonna do well. I don't know if I'm gonna place high, but it doesn't matter. It's just such a fun time.
Peanut Butter Gamer.
So Schaffrillas asked me to pick a Mario Kart track to talk about, and as an owner of an official real-life Mario Kart, my opinion is actually fact. Baby Park is the best map ever made! It's just a circle, that's it. You drive around over and over and over and over and over and over and over. It's got the most annoying track in the game, it's got the most annoying music in the game, it's themed after babies who are annoying, and it's just overall the most annoying course in the entire game. But I am also annoying, and I've come to accept that. But if I'm being honest, the main reason I like it so much is it's the only map I can ever win.
Oh.
Throw my pillow.
Oh, yikes.
That wasn't with good vibes all around. It resembles
the
San
most
Francisco,
ringing
but with its cable
endorsement.
cars, and it offers a ton of alternate routes, from an elevated path splitting off the road to a section where you can drive on the wall, which is apparently slower, so that's cool, but at least you can avoid getting hit by the cable cars up here. The downhill portion at the end is really fun too. It's just a generally lovely and upbeat time that I always enjoy. Not the craziest course out there, but it's very fun and cute.
I agree, that's a good
Athens
one.
Dash. I'm Greek, so this course was made for me personally. Alright, allow me to heavily scrutinize it, as is my brother.
Athens Dash
First of
is a
all,
great
look,
one.
My favorite Greek buildings are the cool ones with the
Bangkok
blue
better.
They just straight up don't have them in here.
Bangkok Rush better.
The food? Why are the
It's
toads
the
on
it's the
sidelines
best tour
not eating
track.
gyros?
Come on
Why
now.
can't the Yoshis be cooking up some delicious baklava? Where's the spanakopita for the love of God? Anyway, yeah, this course is pretty good. I think what makes this easily one of the best tour cities is the fact that it doesn't resemble a city course at all. The others are all so samey, but this one feels more like an ancient Greek adventure through ruins, pillars, caves, and not a damn street or sports stadium for the billionth time. It's actually pretty varied with tons of great trick opportunities. Some parts of the layout can feel a little bit janky, but otherwise, yeah, it's one of my favorite city courses. Greeks stay winning, baby! I'm not doing the item box thing this time. I want to hear about Athens Dash from the #1 authority in my life on everything Greek.
My grandma.
So, Yaya, does this, what do you think of this course? Does it look like Greece?
No.
No? Doesn't look like Greece?
I don't know to say. I don't know.
What about these buildings over here? Do these look like Greek buildings?
Yeah.
Okay, so this part looks like
This
Greece.
is so
This part
wholesome.
doesn't.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, but this looks good. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yaya.
Into the mouth.
Look, if that isn't a ringing endorsement of Athens Dash, I don't know what is. Love that. But Bangkok better.
Volcano.
Come to TurboTax.
I was a little disappointed that Grumble Volcano was one of only 2 Wii courses in the base game. Since while I like it, it's not one of my all-time favorites from Wii, and I kind of felt like it was a weird inclusion compared to some of the other choices they could have made. But I quickly learned to love it, because this is a great update to the original. This is one of the courses that benefits the most from 8's more realistic-looking style. Because wow, does this look so much more like hell than the Wii version did. The magma, the potabooze,
Agreed.
the fire on the track, the interior of the cave. I'm a big fan of this redesign, and they even added optional glider sections to a couple parts that fit in and don't feel forced. This is a definite banger that fits perfectly as the semi-final track of the base game. Speaking of which, did I ever tell you guys that the Lightning Cup in Mario Kart 8 is by far my favorite cup in all of Mario Kart? And there's a good reason for that.
Wow.
This right here, this amazing update to Grumble Volcano that I really love, this is the weakest of the 4 courses in this cup. Buckle up, bitches.
WarioWare Gold.
I was so
yeah. Grumble Volcano on Wii, I always went back and forth on how much I liked it. But yeah, this is just great remake. Just really nothing more to be said. Looks so good.
Happy when Wario's Gold Mine was revealed in the Wii U DLC. Like, oh thank god, a Mario Kart Wii retro course I really love. No offense, Moo Moo Meadows and Grumble Volcano, but this is that shot in the arm that the Wii selection really needed. I will say though, this feels like a much different course than its Wii counterpart. For better or worse. I guess that's a recurring theme with Wario remakes in this game, huh? They added a ton of great new trick opportunities off of corners. Big fan of those. The graphical enhancements make this one really pretty looking. But they took out this one steep roller coaster-like part in the cave section in favor of a much safer feeling anti-gravity segment. Speaking of a much safer feeling anti-gravity segment, now the minecarts are safe to touch since they'll give you a little boost. A far cry from how rough of an obstacle.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
They're
They're one of the...
but also kinda neutered a bit. Which version you prefer depends on if you like the original's chaotic.
Not only are the minecarts like one of the toughest enemies in the games, but it also makes like taking that shortcut at the very end quite a risk, and it's just not in this game.
Or if you'd rather have a smoother, more fair ride. I personally really like both versions and think they're almost on equal footing due to their strengths and weaknesses balancing each other out. I guess the Wii version was a lot more memorable for its chaos though, so I probably slightly prefer that one.
Yeah,
But this
gotta
is
go
a
Wii
remake that
version
I
over
enjoy a
this.
lot.
But it's still a really fun track. Wii version's better.
GameCube Daisy Cruiser really isn't all that different from its 3DS iteration. It has all the same neat underwater additions, and there's nothing really new layout-wise. However, it is one of those ultra-rare Booster Course Pass graphical glow-ups. Because wow, did the colors and overall design really pop in this version. Not only that, but they added Goombas to the pool, and Yoshis, Shy Guys, and Toads to the shifting dining tables. These really make the course feel more alive, and there's practically nothing to complain about with this remake. Well, okay, they still didn't bring the life preservers back, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
This
you
is pretty
can't-
much the definitive
can't
version of
remove
Daisy
those.
Cruiser. Only ranking relatively lower on this list because, well, there's a lot of competition it has to contend with.
It's a waterfall.
Shy Guy Falls
Yeah,
is just
I mean, I really like it. Overall, pretty good upgrade. Not too much else to be said there. It's a really nice track.
cool. Simple as that. It's
Seems like a fair
both Up and
placement.
down a waterfall, making great use of anti-gravity and a variety of boost pads. Being able to glide.
This one may be a little high for
hearing the Shy
me.
Guys
This
working
is
time with
too
the
high.
excellent music, it's a blast. I'm kind of struggling to find things to say about this one because it's pretty simple and yet extremely effective. I always have a great time on it, and it's one of the best new courses to come out of the base game. All right, that was way too short of a segment. I'm sorry.
Look, it's fun. It just doesn't.
Good thing AK Family Home is here to beef up the Shy Guy Falls discussion.
Let's see
Out
what
of all the
she
base
has
tracks
to
in Mario
say.
Kart 8, Shy Guy Falls isn't the most bombastic, but definitely still stood out to me. I mean, racing up and down a waterfall and anti-gravity already sounds super cool. Trying to hit odd boost pads on your way up before that satisfying U-turn is super fun. But the music just amplifies that sense of adventure, and most importantly, you have Shy Guys along the track mining to the music, and it is one of the cutest things ever. Because Shy Guy's name in Japanese is Hey Ho, younger me was convinced this was an indirect Snow White reference, but yeah, I'm getting off track.
I mean, it's a fun one. It's just, look, there's a lot of great tracks in this game. I don't think it's almost top 30. I think that's got to be more like a 45, you know, kind of middling track, like better,
I was so
you know, top
excited to get
50%.
DK Summon back, as it was the first Wii course in the Booster Course Pass that wasn't in 7. Finally, a choice that didn't feel like an obligation, one that I haven't gotten to play in so long. And I don't know, something's a little off about this version. It could be better graphically, especially considering how long the barrel cannon ride is, where you get to look at those not so hot looking mountains in the background. But oh well. My main issue is that the half pipes just don't feel as good as they do on Wii. They're a bit too janky, and the camera isn't great at following you. Most of the time they work fine, but sometimes it can be a little iffy. I also don't like the section with the bumps. They felt much easier and more satisfying to trick off of in Wii when they were smaller. But otherwise, yeah, pretty good remake that captures the extreme sports vibe of the original. It's still a ton of fun, and they did it. They replaced the giant Mario statue with a statue of DK. I knew they had it in them.
Subway.
Yeah, he did not like that was a Mario statue in the original. DK Summit's fun. I will say, again, I don't know if it's necessarily because the bumps are higher or what. I think it's just the way that Wii drives versus this game. I just think Wii's driving mechanics work better on the track for both the half pipes and the rocky section. So that definitely takes this one a bit down for me.
We want to talk about misjudging courses for way too long. There's no better example of that for me than Super Bell Subway. For nearly 9 years, I looked at this one as extremely mid and forgettable. Oh, they're just doing the Sunshine Airport thing again and making a transportation hub into a race course. Except this time, it's a dingy-ass subway. Who cares? Subways are cool and all, but this felt like a really unimaginative concept. Not helped by how frustrating the course felt to play to me. How am I supposed to get anywhere with these big-ass trains in the way? I'm sorry, my train obsession can only cover so much bullshit. I was pretty comfortable calling this a C-tier course for almost a decade. Then one day I realized, wait, I've never actually taken these alternate pathways on the side. I just assumed they were slower and not worth my time. So I went on them and, hey, these are kind of fun, not gonna lie. The hitting the train problem has kind of been alleviated for me. Wow. Hey, what's this one do? Oh my god, there was a glider ramp here the whole time? And you can drive on top of the trains? And there's cool unique graffiti adorning the walls. And the music is really good. I guess I could have noticed that earlier, actually. Whoops. Wait, was this one of the coolest, most dynamic tracks in the game with a wealth of things going on the whole time? Huh. Yeah, I kind of love Super Bell Subway now. It absolutely
I haven't even taken those paths yet.
To take on each lap. I was a fool for dismissing it all those years. And I am ready to atone for my sins, Father.
Slide to the right.
Yeah, you know, it's a again, if you're gonna have the traffic, this one does its job. I think the actual subway is pretty chaotic down there, so I like it. Maybe just a smidge high for me, but like not really gonna be too nitpicky about that. It's a really fun track. Piranha Plant Slide, another fun one. This one may be a little too high for me, but we'll see. See if he can convince me.
An obvious priority retro course when I first got my hands on Mario Kart 8, but after playing it, it quickly stuck out as the most improved 3DS remake, at least until Neo Bowser City rolled around in the DLC. The course is mostly pretty faithful to its original version, except for the blue Goombas. How did they forget the blue Goombas? What, is Mario Kart 8's lighting system not able to render blue Goombas or something? Whatever, still the same great course, but the ending is where the improvements really come in. The anti-gravity really makes this last underwater section so much more engaging, but that doesn't compare to the glider portion. In the original, it was a straight line to where you were flying, but here, it's now angled upwards, and that's so much more exciting. It really feels like you're coming out of the sewer back to ground level. It's such a small, relatively minor tweak, and yet it makes this course significantly more memorable for me. A really strong remake with pretty seamless anti-gravity implementation. I dig it.
Alright, he convinced me. That's a fine ranking.
What my favorite Mario Kart 8 course was back when I was 16, I definitely would have told you N64 Rainbow Road. It was an untouchably magical experience. From the gorgeous visuals to the incredible music to what a powerful celebration it felt like with the fireworks in the background. I adored it more than anything else in this game. Nowadays, I kind of don't care about it as much, not only because they added better Rainbow Roads, but, I don't know, its charm kind of wore off on me after a while. Childhood is when you idolize N64 Rainbow Road, adulthood is when you realize Mount Wario makes more sense. From what I understand, this is a pretty divisive remake, since it really overhauls the original's iconic aesthetics, and it shortens it from a 6-minute, 3-lap nightmare to a simple 1-lap track split into 3 sections. I can understand missing the charm of those original elements, but like, this version's actually playable now, so I like it better. I don't think it's too short at all, and besides, having a shorter length is much better than losing your damn sanity on the monstrosity that was the original. And while the original's aesthetics were really pretty and unique, man, I just really like the new version. The fireworks, city below, and even the road itself pop here. This was a wonderful last course to end off the original Wii U base game, even if I could get my Rainbow Road fix elsewhere in this game nowadays.
Yeah, I think this one just works. I think the original just had so many problems. Like, you gotta kind of take those out. And I think this course did a good job of kind of adding its own, you know, take and adding its own elements in there to make it, you know, kind of make up for what it lost. And it's a fairly fun track. Again, it just this course feels much more like a Rainbow Road than the actual 8 Deluxe Rainbow Road. But
GBA Ribbon Road has long been the gold standard for how to reimagine
Ooh, look at Rainbow Road. I said Rainbow Road. Ribbon Road.
Okay, what if a child got all these presents for
I love Ribbon Road.
Bada boom! This course is now a playset taking place in the kid's bedroom. That's so brilliant. And unlike their reimagining of Cheeseland, it doesn't really throw anything from the original in the garbage. The theme is exciting.
And we're like tiny, right?
Is a pretty good one.
We're tiny.
This course offers mind-blowing gameplay or anything, but man, is it novel with immaculate vibes. I do think I admire the overall theme more than I enjoy playing on it. But with that said, it's still a ton of fun to play. With lots of trick opportunities.
You're so tiny on Ribbon
And it has a poster for Kung Fu Lakitu. Oh, like that's just amazing. I'm sorry. No notes.
Ribbon Road's fun, man. Just a grand old time, dude. Super bright. Love the toy room type aesthetic. Like, great time. Good
Coconut
ranking
Mall
place
in Mario
right there.
Kart 8 is one of the most controversial remakes in the history of the series. So many people could.
Again, I know Coconut Mall is his #1 Mario Kart Wii track. This has to be lower. Again, they destroyed this track. Oh, nowhere near as bad as Koopa Cape. Do not get me wrong. They did not destroy anywhere close to as much as Koopa Cape, but they did destroy it.
Not stand what they did to this fan favorite track. And as someone more passionate about that original track than most other things, I think the hate is kinda overblown. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I still like it. But in the spirit of complaining, since I did a lot of that for the 7 version, what did they do to the parking lot? It's not just the fact that the cars don't move back and forth anymore. Now there's no boosts. There's no ramp after the big glide. There's no thank you and have a nice day signs. How am I supposed to have a nice day now while playing this? The answer is you don't. They completely ruined this difficult and memorable last portion of the track for no real reason. And having the cars do donuts in the parking lot doesn't really fix things since there's still more static obstacles than the original cars. It's a truly awful change that cements this as the worst version of Coconut Mall. And then the rest of it is pretty on par with the 7 version, I don't know. Like, this isn't some huge betrayal of the sanctity of Coconut Mall, because this course hasn't really been amazing since 2008. In fact, I'd argue that this version is actually a bit better aesthetically than the 7 version. That one was just a bland, pale imitation of the Wii Mall, whereas this one's trying something new, and I kinda like it. Yeah, I like the orange, damn it. It doesn't hurt my eyes. I mean, okay, they certainly could have turned the bloom down, but it's not awful. Yeah, this course definitely suffers from the Wave 1 poor texture curse, but it doesn't look nearly as bad as Toad Circuit or Shroom Ridge in my opinion. It's one of the better Wave 1 courses visually. Not that that means a whole lot. And like, check out this 8-bit mural adorning what used to be a boring, weird metallic wall. That's such a cool visual detail. And the fun advertisements are back in full force. Like, hell yeah, I want to go to Kamek Bookstore and Shy Guy Records. Overall, the vibes in this course are a lot better than the 7 version. And it's still a ton of fun gameplay-wise. Oh, but the escalators! Yeah, I like the old escalators too, but it is really not that big of a deal that you don't have to squint your eyes in order to tell
Well,
the correct one.
it's not about the squinting your eyes. Because, like, look, if you go up the wrong escalator, it's not even the end of the world. It's really not. It's the adrenaline rush. It's the panic that ensues where you're freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I go like you don't like that moment. You don't really have that moment on any other track in the game. So I'd like to keep that. Whether you get it right or wrong. I mean, you could even maybe nerf the effect of the escalator going the wrong way to where like you don't even lose as much time. It's like just that effect, you got it, that feeling, you got to keep it. I do agree that this looks way better than the 7 version, and they went for something a little bit different. I like it. I think the look of it is fine. It's just, yeah, I mean, I just vastly prefer the original, and this one's still, like, fun, it's still good, but it's like, if you're worse than the original, it's just a bit of a letdown.
This is a pretty solid version of Coconut Mall, aside from the accursed parking lot of shame, but let's not worry about that.
I'll jump the mushroom.
It's just, they took out a lot of the stuff that made it, I don't know.
I feel like this is just a really hard course to mess up.
Tier.
Like, as long as the mushrooms are bouncy, then there you go. It's a banger. This version adds some new features, like being able to trick off the green mushroom edges, and even the return of one of the shortcuts from Wii. Plus, the cave section, which looks gorgeous by the way, merges the Wii and 7 layouts, having a whole mushroom path on the left, but also offering a blue glider shroom. It's the best of both worlds, I say. Sadly, the design of the mushrooms is still way flatter and less enticing than the Wii version. Plus, the course looks a little rough outside of the cave section, but it's still a damn fun one that I'm always excited to play online. One of those courses I wouldn't mind seeing in every Mario Kart. Can't really say that about Coconut Mall and Koopa Cape, since looking at what they've become makes me depressed.
Yeah, again, I mean, this version of Mushroom Gorge doesn't do anything crazy, but again, especially when you look at like what happened at Koopa Cape and Coconut Mall, like he said, I'm not going to complain. It's perfectly fine. It works. They didn't kill it. It's good. It's really fun. Again, like he said, I'm not complaining whenever this gets picked. I mean, I certainly am not as excited when this queues up as I was on the Wii version, but you know, it's also partially just because there's so many more tracks. But yeah, really good track overall.
DK Mountain, my absolute favorite course from Mario Kart Double Dash, and my favorite retro course brought back in Mario Kart Wii. I love this track so dearly, and this might be my least favorite version of it. Don't get me wrong, it's still great, and I really don't want to sound ungrateful, considering it's a miracle we got this instead of Dino Dino Jungle, which I like significantly less. But something with
Dino Dino Jungle, man, he was hating on Dino Dino Jungle too much in that Double Dash ranking, I will say.
I was definitely off about this version of the course, and I wasn't sure what it was until I replayed the original versions. It was that hectic feeling of trying not to fall off as you stumbled your way down the mountain, made even better better by the unique looseness of Double Dash and Wii's controls. Here, this is the smoothest controlling Mario Kart ever, which is ordinarily a good thing, but I feel like it resulted in a lot of the treacherous charm of this course in particular being lost in translation. It's still really good and fun, but just not on the same level as those first two iterations for me. At least it looks great. Like, damn, that volcano face, and especially the rock texture, are really good. Seriously, whoever textured this rock deserves a raise.
Yeah. It's just the way the driving works and the way that the carts move on Double Dash make the Dino Jungle, the DK jungles, even the Sherbet land, like, so interesting to drive on, and in a lot of the cases add so much to it, where we still had a little bit of that, where it didn't complete. Like, I thought driving on DK Mountain on Wii was a step down from Double Dash. It was still good. This on this game, the controls are in the driving is just so refined that it, like, I don't really feel anything different when driving on this track in Mario Kart 8. You know, nothing really special or unique like I did when I was driving on it in like Double Dash. So tragic, but still, DK Mountain is great.
3DS DK Jungle is the final course in the Banana Cup. You see, this is a clever reference to Monkey. Anyway, this was a great priority retro course to bring back, even though there really isn't that much changed in this remake. The Temple of the Great Banana is now anti-gravity for no real reason. Seriously, I don't know why this was added. I could just imagine the Mario Kart devs panicking and going, oh god, we need to add anti-gravity to some retro courses to justify its existence. Put it in the Monkey course. Whatever, a fine addition to a course that's just as good as it always was. Now in HD. You know what? I'm tired of all these people generally agreeing with my opinions. Let's get some dissent in here. Raise your hand if you're not a fan of DK Jungle.
Oh, okay, I like this. I like this.
Ooh, here we go. It's Sir Musty.
One of my favorite parts about Mario Kart is the weird locations they use for tracks. One minute you'll be racing on a planet made out of cheese while the locals wonder, and the next minute, New York. So explain to me how Donkey Kong, Mario's oldest rival by the way, either only gets a jungle or a mountain.
I already think it missed the mark in 7. As a retro Mario Kart 8, I think DK Jungle didn't get the glove it needed.
And as an homage to Donkey Kong Country Returns, you could have picked literally any other world theme. So in the end, I'm both mad.
Wait, we need that again.
And as an homage to Donkey Kong Country Returns, you could have picked literally any other...
I think the factory would have been pretty cool. Or the cave. Cave would have been dope. I mean, I get what he's saying there.
The world theme. So in the end, I'm both mad and disappointed.
Aw, well,
Castle 3. I love Bowser Castle 3. I think it's pretty safe to say that this is the single greatest SNES remake in all of Mario Kart. Like, nothing else even comes close. They took what was already one of the best courses in Super Mario Kart and gave it the glow-up of the century, modernizing it and making it into a damn exciting thrill ride. Most tour remakes of SNES tracks are about as flat and boring as you'd expect. But the second this absolute banger hit tour, we all collectively agreed, oh yeah, they made this with Mario Kart 8 in mind. The alternate pathways from the original are now separated by towering pillars that you can actually drive on. The anti-gravity on this one turn makes it feel so much more treacherous. You can drive on top of the thwomps at the end to get coins. You gotta constantly be on your toes in order to not boost your way into the lava. And the music is just godly. What an amazing remix. It took a bizarrely long time to get a second Bowser's Castle in this game, considering how it has 5 rainbow roads. But man, the wait was worth it. Why can't every Super Mario Kart remake be this good? Damn it. You Mario Circuit 3. I would have rather gotten the Vanilla Lake, because at least that would have been funny. I was finally gonna be happy.
yeah, this new Bowser Castle, I mean, just came out not too long ago. Super fun, man. I really enjoy it. Never mad when this gets picked. Such a fun track. God, and it looks so good, too.
Cloudtop Cruise is really something special. More so than any other course in the Special Cup, actually. Yeah, kind of a weak selection in this game, but oh well, this one carries it pretty hard. It starts out with a gorgeous, fluffy, cloudy, beanstalky road, before you travel to an airship that shoots you from a cannon right into the Thunderhead. This part is especially cool, not just because the music dynamically transitions into a more intense and rockin' version, but because the boost panels here will periodically get struck by lightning, so you have to pay close attention to which ones you can use. I really like how dynamic and risk-rewardy of an obstacle that is. After that, you fly back out into the sunny sky, with a fun little leaf shortcut for you to perform if you're bold enough, and your ears get to bear witness to something they didn't need to add, but it just exists as the cherry on top of an already amazing sundae. There's a Gusty Garden Galaxy remix up in this bitch. I guess they learned from the fact that Rosalina's Ice World didn't have a Galaxy remix in its music, so they just put it here, and it's awesome. This course is simply spectacular, and the true heir to the Sky Garden moniker, since Lord knows that course's remakes aren't doing it any favors. Isn't that right, John Cartwright? Yeah, grab the data box ahead of time. Speedrunning, baby!
Cloudtop Cruise. When you think about the sky, you probably think about the color blue and white fluffy clouds. But no, as in all of life, the sky is a bumpy journey. It starts off all safe, but soon enough you're launched through a cannon, and you've got to dodge lightning and balance on a little leaf while Mario Galaxy music plays, as in all of life. And in my opinion, it is one of the best tracks in Mario Kart 8, and if you disagree, I'm going to find you.
Oh. Well, I disagree. I disagree. Oh no. He's going to find me. Look, I've come around on this track recently, so I'm not gonna bash it. I just think top 20 is a little much. I don't know. I really don't know what it is about this one. Like, and it's got some cool sections. I do like the thundercloud boost area. The ship area is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of just meh. Even though there's nothing really like it in this game, it's kind of just meh. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I really don't. This one puzzles me. I need to play this one a few more times to really develop my thoughts on it. I'm never picking this one myself. If somebody else picks it, I'm not super excited about it. But I also, after the race, I'm not feeling like I had a bad time. So I just don't know. And I think, for a feeling like that, can't be top 20.
Swirling wonderland of sparkling white pleasure.
Out of the many GBA remakes in this game, some good, some the opposite of good, my absolute favorite out of all 8 of them has to be Snowland. Not a very popular opinion, I'm sure.
Interesting.
Red Road is the clear fan favorite among these remakes.
Interesting.
But damn it, I love Snowland a little better. And that's kind of insane, because if you saw my Super Circuit video, I ranked it as my second least favorite course in that game. How did it become the most improved Mario Kart 8 remake of all? On the GBA, the screen shook up and down aggressively, and in this new version, the screen does not shake. That's it. That's literally all it took to transform this into a magnificent course. I absolutely adore its visuals. This icy road looks gorgeous, the skybox is pretty, the snowmen and penguins everywhere enhance the theme so much. I mean, this is like the textbook definition of a winter wonderland. It's amazing look, coupled with the enchanting music, item boxes that almost seem to skate along the road, and a pretty solid layout with varied elevation and a ton of great shortcut opportunities, make for a course that doesn't feel old or outdated in the slightest. I absolutely adore this remake, and I always have an amazing time on it. It may be a bit on the simpler side, but that's not a detriment at all. It's great. And maybe I could have liked the original version more if it wasn't an earthquake simulator.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, that one may seem a little high for me too, but again, I'm not going to knock it. I think, again, I'm not, desert and the snow tracks, usually not super in love with, but wow, this one works. It's a really simple, it's one of those just super basic, simple tracks that I think just it works really well. And I don't think they needed to go too crazy with anything on it. It looks great, plays great, is good. What is happening?
Oh my god, it's the train course!
Oh, Baby Park should have been way higher. Baby Park. What are the biggest injustices so far? Toad Circuit. Baby Park. Bangkok. Probably Vancouver. Those may be the top 4 right now. Not my top 4 tracks, just
that the 2 courses that inspire the most
top 4 probably biggest
disagreements. Mountain and Calamari Desert. And what do you know?
Maybe not so much Toad Circuit.
They put them in for me.
But it's got to go up higher. Come on now.
Version of Train Course. But man, I had no idea what I was in for with this one. It looks pretty identical to the 7 version at first glance. What with the glider sections I'll never use because I'd rather get stopped by a train, damn it. But lap 2 is where the big twist comes in. Suddenly, there's a giant ramp in the way. Where did it come from? How did they construct it so quickly? I don't know, but who cares? It takes you onto the train tracks. The tunnel is required now. Coming face to face with a large ass train and having
super
to
cool
on the narrow sides is now part of the track design.
Super
this
cool.
Is maybe the most exciting thing to happen to a retro course ever. I mean, this is how you do it. Everybody say thank you, Mario Kart Tour, for giving us this cool train track driving variation that they incorporated into the 8 Deluxe version. It's crazy how many good ideas for alternate takes on tracks the tour gave us that we only got a small glimpse of in 8 through this and Peach Gardens. Surely Mario Circuit 3 could have used some updates like a trick or reverse variant on some laps, right? Anyone? Anyway, yeah, this is the best train course has ever been. I love you, train course. Oh my god, best course of all time! Except for everything ranked above it.
Yeah, so I wasn't as big of a fan of the original. He was going crazy about it in that ranking video. But yeah, I do really enjoy this one. I think they killed it with the remake. Again, just I feel like you can look at all the courses that were remade super well and look at the courses that the fan reception of the remakes aren't super great, and I feel like you'll notice a lot of patterns. So Just
Out of all
a
the
thought.
cool crossover tracks we got in this game, none of them can quite top these loving F-Zero tributes. I'm not a huge fan of
Is
the
that
guys from what I played. It's a
Big
little too intense
Blue?
for me compared to the wacky fun of Mario
Big
Kart.
Blue.
And yet, these tracks are easily
Hayden
some of the
loves
most
some Big
exhilarating
Blue.
in the game. Mute City is the slightly weaker one, even though it's still strong as hell. Chaining together boosts, grabbing
Yep.
points on these
But
unique
what about
strips when you
Big
hit them,
Blue?
and barreling down that awesome ending section is an absolute blast. There's even an extra shortcut you can take at this section. That's so neat. It's such a novel course that came along and blew most of the other tracks in this game away. Not much else to say. It's just really fast and fun.
4 years of landscaping.
Where's
I
Big
think each
Blue?
Riley has a home to be
Wow,
proud of.
Big Blue not even out
It's
yet.
showered with riches in terms of getting such
Hayden would
awesome
love
white
that.
beach gardens. The original is great. I love it. But man, they pulled out all the stops for this new version. It looks graphically spectacular. The hedges have been cut into the shape of characters. The music is elegant and gorgeous. There are new trick opportunities off the edge of a road and the mole paths. They did remove the cool peace sign hedges in favor of a piranha plant, which you can see on just about any old course. But hey, a small price to pay for all these other enhancements. This was already the clear best version of Peach Gardens. And then you go backwards on the third lap. What? Why? Calamari Desert made sense. There was a variant of that course where you go on the train tracks. But why does this course have a backwards variant built in now? Apparently, it's a reference to a scrapped route from the original DS version. So it's neat to see that promise finally fulfilled. And if it sounds like I'm complaining about the backwards lap, I'm not. I'm just in shock that it exists, is all. There's no greater feeling than high-fiving Hedge Luigi. If you want, you can dive straight into the princess's, Peach, whatever floats your boat.
Whoa, Schaffrillas, come on
Super
now.
remake that combines the grace and elegance of the original with the excitement of taking an alternate route and gliding over the garden. Absolute banger, and it even panders to us Mario Kart Wii fans while also making DS fans happy. If only they could have brought back Delfino Square for the same reason.
Singapore.
Okay, so that one's interesting, right? Because loved it on DS. I was pretty anti Peach Gardens on for Mario Kart Wii. He had it so high in his rankings, and I was bashing it pretty hard. And this is where, you know, it's just like a roller coaster. We're going up, down, then we're going all the way back up, because I do really enjoy Peach Gardens in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for a lot of the reasons that he said. This is a phenomenal remake. And yeah, it's got to be above even the original. So shout out. Another great remake done.
Person Malaysia.
Singapore Speedway is easily the best city course. Like, it's not even
You tell me it's not a competition? Because I'd tell you Bangkok beats Singapore Speedway every single day of the week. Twice on Sunday, by the way. Bangkok is #1.
contest. It has incredibly varied track design, stunning colors, killer music, some of the most exhilarating glider segments in the entire game. I mean, why did they pour so much effort into just this one course? Like, Tokyo could have used some of this pool shit, you guys. I adore the shallow rooftop pool you wade through, giving
Look,
you a
Singapore's
glider segment
great.
above a soccer stadium. That's right. We
Like,
don't need to
Singapore
touch that. I've had enough
is
practice
a
for
top
stadiums,
tier
thank you very
tourist
much.
track,
The
but
Chinatown
Bangkok's
segment is
better.
very simple gameplay-wise, probably
Bangkok
the best course
clears.
overall. Yet it remains aesthetically pleasing and cool. And it gives way to another glider segment where you can boost off of water geysers before transitioning into conveyor belts that remind me of Toad's Factory, aka the last thing that made me feel joy. And then there's a third glider segment, which is arguably the coolest yet. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The fourth glider segment, since there was a simple cannon one earlier. Anyway, this last one has a structure you can trick off of, plus parts of the track you can touch down on, or completely ignore in favor of getting these ring boosts. One last drive through Chinatown, and that's a wrap on one of the coolest new courses we've seen, regardless of it being a tour city course. This is why I can't take the people who hate all the city courses equally seriously. Some of them are significantly better than others, and this is the prime shining example of that. So aside from New York Minute getting claimed by an authentic New Yorker, is anyone really shocked that this is the only other city course anyone wanted to claim? You might be saying, what about Athens Dash? But that wasn't a claiming. I just sprung that on my grandma. She doesn't even know what Mario Kart is. Anyway, which YouTuber are we meeting in Singapore? Ant Dude.
Singapore Speedway gained so many cool points right out of the gate for having an excellent opening. This beautifully vibrant city, just filled with colors and bright lights in the middle of the night sky, it's just a really cool aesthetic. But then, with the music, you go up this ramp and it kicks off and the melody is so sweet. Oh, and then you're sliding down this little pool of water with Goombas riding in it. Oh, and then you can jump back down into the sky and you can see all these cool sights like a football field. And it's fantastic. But yeah, one of my favorite courses from tour, almost exclusively for the opening. Thank you.
Wow. I mean, look, Singapore Speedway, great track, but Bangkok's better.
It's unlikely that we'll get
Come on
this
now.
Deluxe, considering there's going to be a lot of city courses in this DLC.
Whoa, didn't see that coming.
Oh baby, no course in this DLC generated as much hype for me with its announcement quite like Moonview Highway. You might be wondering why. I mean, there are better courses that got in. Well, that's because we were all expecting those courses, either thanks to data mines or simple logic. But neither of those were the case for Moonview Highway. In fact, simple logic dictates that it wasn't going to come back because it's a city. You know, that thing that appears twice in every wave because of tour. I even said as much in my Mario Kart Wii ranking a year ago, that we probably wouldn't get Moonview Highway because of all the cities afoot. So when this course was unveiled against all odds, it made me so insanely happy. It's as beautiful as the day I lost it, and it puts 99% of the city courses to shame. That math probably isn't correct. What I meant to say is that I have it ranked above all of them except for one. But percentage-wise, I don't think
wait. This entire bit no longer works because I moved Moonview Highway above Singapore at the last minute. Oh. Should have kept Singapore higher.
counts for being better than 99% of them. I graduated college 3 years ago. I haven't
And then put Bangkok right above Singapore.
done math in a really long time. Anyway, this course goes hard. It's atmospheric and enticing, with so many cars to dodge at high speeds as you try and hit as many randomly placed boost panels as you can. All as you listen to what might just be the single best remix in all of Mario Kart 8. I'm serious. This game's version of Moonview Highway's music is one of the best songs to come out of Mario Kart. It's electric. It dynamically changes whether you're on the highway or in the city. It has a killer drum solo. It's just perfect. The only negative I could possibly muster for this remake is that the poster for the Mushroom Moon doesn't have the Pikmin font anymore. Boo! Though to be fair, neither does Pikmin 4. What a ripoff. I guess I could also say that given Mario Kart Wii's extreme overrepresentation, I might have preferred giving Mushroom City a shot at redemption in this slot instead. But who cares? We got an absolute banger with one of my favorite music tracks in any game ever. That's more than enough for me.
I need to